And we are live on another edition of Ballin the Boot. I am your host, Jace Lejeune. I know week 10. Week 10 of the regular season. Man, it's flown by, but we are going to digest everything. We're going to enjoy everything and just enjoy that we have football at this point. I mean, that's basically all we can do, right? So, yeah, and we're going to have a lot of coaches on the show. We'll talk about a lot of different things, obviously their wins, but we're also going to talk about the playoffs coming ahead. And, we always want to start off big with the show. And the reason I said 10:30, but when you got a coach like this hopping on already, might as well start things early. I don't want to keep Coach waiting. So I have to bring him on, and that's Coach Robert Valdez. The Purple Knights, the St. Augustine Purple Knights, get the job done here tonight. Coach Valdez, when you're on the show, that means you did something right, and y'all did tonight against the John Curtis Patriots. But Coach, it's always tough to win in the Catholic League. But to do that tonight against the GOAT himself, JT Curtis, and the Patriots, I mean, that means a little extra something. So talk about the win tonight and what it means to be a program like John Curtis.
I'll tell you what, man. Coach JT Curtis is somebody that for years has set the bar for us coaches in the state of Louisiana. And when you play his programs, you got to be ready to play. It's going to be physical. And they jumped out on us at 13-0, and I was so proud of our guys for persevering and just maintaining composure and being able to battle back and just get under control a little bit, control our emotions and whatnot, and just fight hard and just able to make the plays and get back to your assignment, your keys, and we were able to we took the punch and we stumbled a little bit, and then we just regrouped and just got back to doing the things that we do and chopping wood.
Absolutely, Coach. I believe final score, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've gotten, 55-28, the Purple Knights over John Curtis tonight. So 55-28, and really a fantastic season for y'all guys. I mean, 9-1 in the Catholic League. I mean, only loss. You can't really hang your head. I mean, end the car. Looks like the number one team in the entire state of Louisiana. But to go 9-1 in this district and set yourself up to which could be a great playoff run in the playoffs coming up. How proud are you of the team, just overall having to, the schedule that y'all played into in the season 9-1. You must be feel really proud about your football team.
Extremely proud, man. I can't say enough about our kids, and our culture and everything that St. Augustine High School, exemplifies with what we do in the building and what we do, and so just so proud of this group of kids. They've been through a lot. Like I said, it's just year 2 in the program, and we're going through some change and growing pains and transition, and those guys have just held on, man. They've held on. We have a word for the year, is consistency, and the word for this week was just to believe. And it's to believe in the things that we're doing, believe in each other, and believe in our process. And just so happy for them. I mean, just those guys, for those seniors that we have, for just our coaches, our leadership, and everybody that has anything to do, with St. Augustine High School, man. Just proud.
Absolutely, Coach. I know you guided us through it a little bit, but go through this one about how y'all able to do that. Score 55 points tonight. I know y'all have a really electrifying offense, but still, I mean, score 55 points against John Curtis. That's an impressive feat. Just talk about what allowed that to happen. What got things really rolling for y'all tonight.
I think that, like I said, defensively, we scored on a pick six, and we got a couple of Johnny on the spot turnovers. And it's always great that you have to do so much when you play against a team like John Curtis. You have to be so disciplined and stay on top of your keys, and and then offensively, I think that quarterback play, in the beginning, made a little mistake, but then he got settled in, and offensive line, played and gave us enough of lanes in the run game, and we were able to kind of, make some plays. And the thing about it is just telling the guys just to be able to just do what we do, and and try as best as we can to be consistent. And I think that you know don't worry about the scoreboard, and we just made some plays, and we were able to run the ball, and we were able to throw the ball, and then defensively, like I said, my lights out. They did a phenomenal job of assignment football, dive, quarterback, option, and then being able to be opportunistic on some turnovers, and just a total complete team effort.
Absolutely, for sure. Offense, defense, play complementary football. I mean, and that, you got yourself going on a great spot. Talk about your quarterback, Vaishon Kulon. I know he's a guy that's really been a great productive player. I mean, at St. Aug, but just talk about him. And it's kind of crazy to me that he's still kind of flying under the radar, as productive as he's been over his career. And just talk about him as a player and as a leader.
I just think that as a person, the young man, and just who he is, and just a guy who's very unassuming. Just comes to work every day and just gives you an honest day worth of work. The kids look up to him, his teammates look up to him. And he just basically embraces, the work ethic, embraces the coaching, embraces the things that we're asking for him. And he's a heck of a competitor. I mean, a couple of times tonight, we needed a first down, and he was able to put his head down and get the extra yards. And not a big guy, not a big guy, but just a guy that, for us, I think that, he should be getting recruited higher, but I'm biased, but I think that when it's all said and done, he's going to have an opportunity to play some football, and there's a place for small quarterbacks that have big hearts.
Oh, absolutely. He definitely does have that. Definitely has a big heart for sure. And I think it does help when you have two receivers like he does as well, Miguel and Raekwon as well. You coach at the college level. You coach at St. James. You coach at a lot of great spots. Do you ever remember having a wide receiver duo like that, on the same team?
I've had one, what I'm saying, with Chaz Preston, and I've had, some good
Mm-hmm.
ones and all that.
Yeah.
But having two is twice the fun, So and those guys, they feed off each other, and I mean, I'm so just so proud, to work with them guys, and just like I said, it's just and I think Vashon understands, how to get the ball to them, and how to
Mm-hmm.
just take what the defense gives us, and don't force it.
Yeah, here with Victoria's head football coach, St. Augustine High School, Robert Valdez, the first coach, joining us tonight here on Ball in the Boot as the Purple Knights get a 55-28 win over John Curtis to finish second in the Catholic League behind Edna Carr this year. Coach, I mean, just as we kind of look ahead, before we look ahead, just 9-1, obviously great regular season, great season this year. What are you most, I guess, proud about the team and in terms of how they grow the most this year?
I think that I mean, look, I could be biased and say that the Catholic League has got to be one of the best football in the state of Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
and just to be able to be prepared to play every week against these great programs, these institutions, these great coaches, and being able to handle everyone's best. And within moderation, just maintain our composure and just continue to be pushed and to be coached. We work hard. Our guys work hard, and we try to push them hard. And we talk about this is not fun when you're trying to do it right. It's not going to be fun, and the game is the reward. So my hands just goes off to our kids, and to our coaches and to everybody for all the work that they put in. We finished the second part. Like I said, there's three parts. There's pre-district, there's district, and now it's the playoffs. We in a single elimination tournament. We're gonna get a bye, so this week is just to be able to heal up. To be able to touch up on some things, and just to be able to that those things that we need to be able to take it one game at a time. Whoever it is that we're going to play, and we just one game at a time, and then that's all we ask for is just one game at a time. We don't try not to look forward.
Sure, and you all have definitely been on a roll ever since the Carr loss. I mean, when you have five straight wins the end of the season, I mean, this is where you want to be. You're playing your best football heading into the playoffs, and I know, Coach, you're feeling momentum right now. The team's playing well. I think it's kind of one of those situations where I was going to ask you about maybe you don't want to buy. The way as good as the team is playing every single week, you kind of want to keep on playing. But talk about that, especially kind of dealing with that. You love the buy, you love the rest, but I know, Coach. I know you, Coach, and I know
Yeah,
y'all want to
yeah.
still keep on
I
playing
don't.
at the
I
same
mean,
time.
I think that when you start getting the rhythm, and I think that we have a pretty good rhythm going on right now. It's the situation we have at hand. But definitely, we're gonna make sure that our practices are on point with what we've been doing to make sure we don't lose that edge. But I mean, you're right. You kind of want to just continue the rhythm and continue the flow that we've been on, and you know, but we just have to do a very, very good job of making sure that we have great practices this coming up week, and do some. We have to do some self scouting and have to see what we did well, what we need to improve upon, and what's next. But as a head coach and my assistant coaches, we have to do a good job of maintaining humility and being able to handle success and winning. So, that's going to be a next phase in the development of our program.
Yeah, for sure. You get a chance to get the rest, and it's one less game, but you kind of in that playoff mode already when you're in the Catholic League. It seems like every
Every
regular
week,
season game is a playoff
every
game. It
week,
seems
man.
like.
It's every week. It's a juggernaut, and it's a testament to the schools and the programs and the coaches.
Absolutely, Coach. We're looking right now. I mean, obviously the seedings and everything's going to be finalized Sunday, but I'm kind of looking at it right now. Right now, entering today, I believe y'all are the number 3 seed. I mean, the only 2 teams ahead of y'all are Carr and Turling's Catholic. So we'll see how that goes. I know we probably lost Coach in the dead spot right here. But yeah, let's see. We were trying to get him back. I know we got Roman coming up. I think Roman's got to talk about the game that he was at last night. That was a big Thursday night game. We'll talk about that as well. But looks like at Coach Valdez cut off. I was going to ask him just one more question, and that he was going to let him on his way. You see Coach coming back on. See if we can get him back on. But yeah, just see St. Aug 55-28. If we don't get Coach again, not a big deal. We got plenty enough for from Coach Valdez. Let's see. He just entered the studio again. I got you, Coach. I was
Yeah, I'm
going to get you
sorry.
one
Had
more
a little
last
technical.
question.
Yeah. What was that again? We got a little technical difficulties. What was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
question?
Coach. Technical issues. You always got the timing right live, and I had one more question left. Of course, we
Okay.
had technical difficulties, but I'm looking at the playoffs right now. Entering tonight, y'all are the number 3 seed. Right now, the only 2 teams ahead of y'all are Charles Catholic and Edna Carr. But talk about the bracket. The challenge. Obviously, you're playing the top of the line, Louisiana high school football, Division I select, and there's going to be a battle every single week. But to talk about the bracket, how tough it's going to come out. I mean, this is one of the brackets where you feel like you're coming out of it. If you hoist the state championship trophy at the end of it in this bracket, you're definitely deserving of
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, this is the reward for a good season is to go into a juggernaut, and so at this point, throw the records out. If you do things right and you play well, you get a chance to extend your season by 1 week, and so therefore, we whatever if the season's 3, we're just blessed and honored to be in the tournament, and then we're just taking one game at a time and just play whoever we're supposed to play, and hopefully we're playing our best football, week to week to give us a chance to extend the season by 1 week, and that's all we can ask for. Now we're at a point where we control our destiny.
Absolutely, Coach, and that's where y'all want to be. Control your own destiny and go
Yes,
from
sir.
there. And another season coming up, Coach. Congratulations on the win. I know that's a huge win. You want to be playing your best football right at the right time. And what better way to go in the postseason after getting a win over the GOAT JT Curtis and the John Curtis Patriots in convincing fashion. So congratulations on that, and go enjoy the victory tonight for sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Coach Robert Valdez, the first coach, joined me tonight. And man, what a way to start off the show when we get a coach like Robert Valdez. I know we got a coach coming up and Coach Gable. He's going to be coming up pretty soon. I know he's waiting for us right now. But before we do that, we want to take a quick visit with our correspondent, Roman Clark here. Roman's going to join the show and talk about the game he went to on Thursday pretty briefly before we go into Coach Gable, because I know they got themselves a big win tonight. But Roman, usually this is the game I usually go to Thursday nights at the end of the season, the Catholic Zachary special. These are 2 powerhouse programs in the Baton Rouge area over, let's say, the last 10 years. But really, Catholic dominated this football game, really from start to finish. And that was surprising thing of it. I know Zachary is still a good program, maybe not the best year they've had, but for Catholic to still beat Zachary like that, 41-7, I believe. I don't think a lot of people saw that one coming.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a surprise to see how much Catholic was really going on Zachary. Uh, it was big win, of course, 41-7, as you said. And it was the most complimentary football that I feel like I've seen all season personally from Catholic.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What made them so dominant starting off for sure? I mean, that night. What got them going?
Well, what got them going is, as I said, they played complementary football. They turned defense into offense. They started off their scoring off of a blocked punt, and then they just kept it rolling after that. They had 3 turnovers, or they got 3 turnovers on the night, so that they got a interception from Blaine Bradford. That was early in the game.
Yeah, it's a pretty big name.
You had an interception from him, and then you had a massive game from John Russell DeMoss. I hope I'm saying that correct. He scored 14 points on his own on defense off of a scoop and score touchdown on a fumble recovery, and then also he had a pick six of his own. So just a great defensive showing from Catholic.
Yeah, I mean, defense wins championships. You talk about Blaine Bradford. I mean, I got a chance to cover Blaine for a couple of years. He's the Ohio State commit right now, leaning towards the Buckeyes. But you get to see him close in person. What impressed you most about seeing a guy like Blaine Bradford, a 5-star prospect committed to play at Ohio State, and seeing him in person?
I mean, seeing him, it was clear why. He was always definitely making a play. He was big in that interception, of course. He was also getting some tackles. He was at the quarterback. I seen him and John Russell DeMoss as well. They were really wreaking havoc on the defensive side.
Offensively, it seems like Catholic's got a stable of running backs. I mean, they've always had great running backs. I mean, Darius Guys, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you want to go back to Ward Dunn in those days in the 90s as well. But, yeah, I mean, you got to saw Jaden Miles. He's a big-time recruit for 2027 class. You got to see like 3 or 4 really good running backs for Catholic. What impressed you? You talk about defense. What impressed you the most offensively seeing them?
Well, of course, you talked about their running back room. The running back room was definitely strong, but I like their quarterback, Baylor Graves. I apologize.
Yeah.
Baylor Graves.
Yep.
He started them off early. He scored their first points on a run himself. He's definitely a good runner on his own as well. He was looking like a running back in some scenarios. So I thought his running was really strong. I also thought he really made some good decision making. Some good passes, converting some important fourth downs. I think Baylor Graves really showed out last night.
Let's talk about Zachary. What fell apart? What went wrong for the Broncos that night? What fell apart for them?
I mean, their offense was really struggling. Of course, their defense. It's really hard to choose which one was struggling more. I would lean more towards their defense, but their offense was really struggling out there. Of course, they're turning the ball over 3 times. That hurts big time. They had a passing game going on, but the run was just really not there at all, and I think that really hurt them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just looking at it, I mean, Catholic wins the district championship. That clinched them the district championship as well. Just trying to look at maybe some scenes before we let you go. Roman, right now, I know Catholic's pretty high up. The playoff brackets, they're going to be released on Sunday, and it's going to be interesting to see where they at. But they're obviously pretty high in Division I select. How far do you think this Catholic High team can go?
Oh, this is one of my top teams for sure. As I said, this is the most complimentary football. I feel like they really showed out on both sides. I feel like that was the most even football that I've seen so far this season. And you don't end up with a 5-0 district record for no reason. And I think they really showed that. So I like them for the game for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now they are sitting at number 4, so they will have a playoff. They'll have a bye in the first round. The only teams was one of the coaches was actually the coach before you, Coach Valdez, St. Augustine. They're at number 3, and then you have Trones Catholic in the car at 2-1. So that's going to be a really tough bracket Division One select. And the last thing before we go, my last question about Zachary: where do you think they go from here after obviously a disappointing loss?
Well, Zachary, they've got some things to build on. I think their passing game was really strong. So I think if they can really continue to work on that passing game while also getting some complementary run game going, I think they can really have a good offense for the upcoming season.
Absolutely. We'll have more about that game. It's actually posted already. You can go and check that article out at gridironfootballusa.com. Roman, appreciate you coming on the show, man. Keep up the good work. And yeah, we'll definitely talk more as we hit the playoffs next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me as always.
Absolutely. Our correspondent, Roman Cart, joined us to recap the game he was at last night. 41-7 final for Catholic High. They get the win over Zachary. I was at Westminster in Opelousas last night, but hey, I mean, if you are the Westminsters right now, you got to be feeling pretty good about your football team. And we're going to go Westminster Christian. One in Lafayette, and I tell you what, y'all are not too shabby right now. Coach Kent Gable joined us on the show, and what a win for your program for sure. I mean, Vermilion Catholic won the state championship last year in Division 4 Select. I mean, obviously that's the bracket that you're in, but really tough bracket. But as far as momentum and going to the playoffs, Coach, you have to feel really good about that heading to the playoffs with a win tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a huge win, obviously, for our program. Only second year in LHSAA, and to be able to come out and defeat a team of their caliber and with their history, and just extremely proud of our players. We've had 5 season-ending injuries throughout the year, and really have dealt with some adversity, and our kids just completely believe and battled, and tonight I was just happy for them and this senior class, and really all of our players to be able to pull out a victory, and really a hard fought game, and just thankful, man. God's blessed us here, and we're at great school, and we're just very thankful for it. And I think this is a huge win for a ton of reasons, obviously for this season, and where we're at right now going into the playoffs, and also for the future of the school. I think it just kind of lets people know, it just legitimizes you and your program when you can get a win over a big-time program, especially in year 2.
And Coach, I've been pretty impressed because I've noticed this with a lot of uprising programs that it hasn't taken long for them to really adjust. I mean, you go look across. I mean, you have obviously y'all and what y'all been able to do, but North Iberville first, second year in varsity action, they're having a great season. What Prairieville is doing at the 5A level in their second year, just jumping into the deep end, in 2 years of just limited action. What do you think has just been some of the keys, I guess, to build a program this quickly and have some of those results like this just in year 2?
Yeah, it just takes buy-in, from the players and the community and the parents. It started last year with our senior class last year. Just completely buying in, coming in as a new coach, and I came in with a new system. Coming from Acadiana, and bringing in a new offense and really a new culture, a new standard, and just holding them to the standard of excellence. And the expectation is that we want to compete for state championships, right away. And I understand it's difficult, and I understand it's not always possible, but it doesn't change the way that we approach things, and that's our standard. And the regime before me was a lot different. They were 5 wide, spread it out, and defense was optional, and all those things. They didn't really have a weight program, and didn't even have a weight room when I got here. And so we've completely change the culture, and that starts with the players. They bought in last year to the new regime and the new mindset, and it kind of continued on with this senior class. And it takes some time to build culture, and we've just been able to accomplish that a little faster, and I think that's the key. And then create belief. I mean, it's we've had a tendency to, when we get in big games, kind of play down, and tonight we weren't intimidated by the name on the front of the jersey. We just went out there and played hard for 48 minutes, and I was proud of the kids, and they got to see the fruits of their hard work.
Definitely, and I think it helps too when you come from a winning program like Acadiana. You've been with Coach McCullough, you've been part of those championship caliber teams to carry over to this team. What have you learned the most from your time at Acadiana that's really helped you the most make that transition and build that culture here at Westminster?
Yeah, I mean, I was an Acadiana player as well. I played for Ted Davison.
Yeah.
I mean, he was actually my position coach, and it was Willard Hanks was the head coach, and then I got to go back and coach with Coach Davison and Coach Gavin Peters and Coach McCullough and Sebo and Romero. Like, it just the list of coaches that you get to coach with. Coach Dotson, who's now at Acadiana. You get to learn. I think a lot of times right now, especially in this culture, everybody wants to be a head coach, right? Everybody wants to be a head coach, and but it takes a grind period of learning how to be a coach and a position coach and then a coordinator and doing all those things. So just very grateful that I was able to work under some really talented coaches and get to learn, all the aspects of the game, from offense, defense, special teams, because one thing I promise you is that I probably didn't realize the challenges and being a 1A head coach and having to do a lot of the things not all by yourself, but you're in charge of kind of everything. And then when I got here last year, none of our coaches that were on staff had ever coached high school football. So it's been a growth process for them, and they've done a good job. And so it's been a challenge, but again, working for those guys and just learning what it takes to win. There's no there's no secret sauce to it. You got to do it, and there's things you got to do. There's a process that you have to follow if you want to win. Even if you do that, winning's still hard, but you can't cut corners to victory.
I'm here with Westminster Christian head coach Kent Gable, coming out with a 2019 win over Vermilion Catholic. Let's talk about that game, Coach. What were some of the keys for y'all to able to, like you said, overcome that hump, that hurdle, just overcoming seeing that jersey on the other side, for that to intimidate y'all? What were some of the key factors in getting this win and overcoming that hump?
Yeah, I mean, bunch of things. I mean, offensively, we've actually been playing pretty good this year. I mean, look, we had sophomore quarterback, so it's taken him some time to kind of to get under. We've had some injuries to our backs early in the year, so we've had some younger guys step up, and our backs were unbelievable tonight. Our offensive line played well. Obviously, it always starts there, but our backs were on. Both of them rushed for 100 yards. They both had 27 carries. They both blocked for one another, because in our offense, you got to block if you're gonna play running back for us. They didn't put the football on the ground. If they got there 4 and 5 yards of carry. They got 3 yards when it was there. They got whatever was there. They got it. The guys up front played extremely hard. Didn't blow a ton of assignments. And then we made some adjustments defensively, because we've been struggling defensively, and we just made a couple of adjustments and some personnel things, and then also just moving guys around in different spots and then changing some coverage things. And the guys stepped up. I mean, they played extremely well offensively and defensively. Defense, I'm really proud of them because they've been giving up a lot, and today they played hard and did what they needed to do. And then again, just can't say enough about our backs, man. They ran extremely hard and were able to control the clock. I mean, we had 2 8-minute drives at different times, and to come out and get a stop, and then get down and drive down, take about 7 minutes and score first, and then our kicker pregame, our kicker, who's also a secondary guy, he strained a hip flexor or something, so he was out. So we had our quarterback had to go kick tonight. So we were struggling with extra points, and then at the end of the game, we went down and scored to go up, and we got the 2-point conversion right there to take the lead, and then they come down and score, and then had a freshman defensive lineman come in and block the extra point, to take the 2019, to keep the lead at 2019, and then we drove down and had a really good drive, but had some penalties and kind of got backed up, and our defense went out and made some big plays to seal the deal.
Absolutely. We talk about, that veer offense, right? It can be lethal. It's not the fanciest or anything, but it's effective. And that's why Acadian has won a lot of those championships and they've been a key part to winning games here all this year. Talk about the running backs. I know one of your backs, he's actually committed to play in our bowl game at the end of the year after the season is over, Gavin Abear. We'll talk about Gavin and the season he's having, what kind of player he is.
Yeah, Gavin's had it's been a rough senior year for Gavin. he came out, had a big week 1, and then he fractured his leg, and then he was out for 4 or 5 weeks, and then came back and first play of the game, or second run of the game, I think it was against East Bow, got tackled from behind and rolled up his ankle. So then he sprained the same ankle of the leg that had a fracture. So then he was out for another week or so, or 2 weeks, and then but tonight, last week he played well, and then tonight he had another big game, and I'm just proud of him from the growth. It's not easy to play back in our offense. People think it's, but we demand a lot, and there's a certain way you got to do it, and he's done a great job, and really tonight I was proud, senior night, for him to be able to come out and have a big game. And then our other back is Pierce Gable. That's my son, but he's a freshman. He went over 1,000 yards tonight for the season, has 16 touchdowns, and so he ran extremely hard, but both of those backs, man, I really can't say enough about them. They got every yard that was out there tonight, and them along with our a bunch of different factors, but just speaking on our backs, they played about as good as you could play tonight. So I was proud of them.
Absolutely, Coach. Now I know you're enjoying this one. This is soaking in as well, enjoying this victory. But because crazy, next week is the playoffs, is a whole new season. And when we talk about the bracket that you're in, Division 4 select, top to bottom, it's really tough. I don't think you find a more deeper bracket than we talk about this bracket. You tell me 10 to 12 teams that can win a championship. I probably wouldn't be shocked, if they go and win a championship. But right now, it seems like y'all looking like you're going to be going on the road, is what it's looking like for the first round.
Yeah, we'll be on the road. There's still some things I don't know exactly, where we'll fall exactly. But yeah, that was the biggest shock for me. I always, I coming from Division 1 select, who I still think is the toughest bracket out there. Once I got down to this bracket, I believe it's the second, deepest bracket in the state. I really believe that. You really don't. There are a lot of good. And, Westminster Opelousas, I believe, has a real chance to win it. They're really good. Riverside. There's, I could name 10 teams, like you said, that are high level teams that could beat you on any given night. This is an extremely deep bracket, and it's not easy just to make the playoffs. Is a challenge. You really have to. 500 doesn't guarantee you getting in. All the time, depending on who you play. It is a deep bracket, and I didn't understand that until last year, and I kind of realized that pretty quickly. And but we're just excited to get this win, and then like I told the boys, enjoy tonight, and then I'll see you in the morning, and we'll get back to work. Because again, our goals are still our goals. Beating VC is a huge win for this year and for our program. But it wasn't one of our goals, when we set out. Our goal first was to win a district championship. Didn't end up losing to Ascension, but we still got runners up in the district in our second year, which is in a good district. our second goal is to practice over Thanksgiving. You know, and then finally your third goal is to win the whole thing. So, you know, this is just the first step, and you know, we're gonna play a good opponent, whoever we play, whether it's Southern Lab or Kentwood or St. John or whoever it is. It's gonna be a good opponent, and we're gonna be on the road, and we'll prepare for them and go out there and play hard. That's one thing about our kids. We are gonna play hard. Everything they can for 4 quarters. And we'll let the scoreboard see what happens at the end, you know.
Absolutely, coach. And just what's kind of the plan? I know this is going to be one of the biggest games in the program, probably the biggest game in the program's history next week. But yeah, just talking about, I mean, just the plan for preparation for the week and just getting ready for the playoffs moving forward as we wrap up this interview.
Yeah, we'll go to business as usual. You know, we'll come in tomorrow. We'll watch film and you know, get our lift in and you know, make some corrections and get better from this film. You know, because there'll be things that we got to correct as always, and then we'll see who our opponent is, and coaches will prepare over the weekend and get a game plan in place, and then we'll come in Monday and you know, and get to work. You know, one thing that I've had to adjust here is, you know, I can't quite be as physical as we were at Acadiana Monday through Wednesday. You know, I got to kind of pick my because
Sure.
I can't get them hurt at practice. So
yeah, right.
You know, so you know, we like to fly around, and we like to move fast and do those things, but we can't always have a lot of contact at practice. You know, especially late in the year. So we'll do a lot of mental work, and we'll do a lot of our individual work, and then you know, our team-based stuff is just about game plan and scheme and that kind of thing. And but we'll have our same routine as always, and you know, and the players are creatures of habit, and the coaches are creatures of habit. So we'll just kind of business as usual, and you know, we'll play a good opponent and get prepared and try to go on the road and get a win.
Absolutely, coach. You're doing an excellent job with the football program with Westminster, and whether it's the Lafayette campus or the Opelousas campus, a lot of great stuff going on at the Westminsters this year. Coach Gable, appreciate your time with us. Go enjoy this victory and get ready because y'all going to be in the playoffs next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Absolutely. Coach Kent Gable from Westminster Christian Academy over the Lafayette campus. Coach Gable doing an awesome job with that program as they get a big win over Vermilion Catholic to secure their spot and finish the regular season with a winning record at 6-4. Congratulations to Coach Gable. Look forward to see what they do and who they draw up, and we'll talk a lot about that as we go and dive deeper later in this show. Well, I can take a little bit of a breath since we had a couple coaches on starting off in our first 38 minutes of the show. We'll be here tonight till 12:30. So, guys, if you're watching this, thank you so much. Make sure to like the show. Make sure to like it. Make sure to share it out. And whether you're watching us, so whatever platform you're watching us, if you're watching us on Facebook, you're watching us on YouTube, you're watching us on X, make sure to, do us a solid, right? All you got to do is follow us if you haven't followed us, whether it be on Facebook, X, YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't as well. I know we talked to a couple of coaches already. Coach Gable from Westminster Christian. We talked to Robert Valdez from St. Augustine as well. But if you have any comments, if you have any questions, if there's a score update that you would want, is there a general comment maybe about your team? We want the audience, we want the fans to chime in. So make sure to chime in with your comments. We want to update me. I'm starting to kind of see all the scores dwindle in and everything. We have some more exciting announcements with our show. But let's first, talk about, as we're going to take a little bit of our first commercial break of the show tonight. We got to give a shout out to Tommy's Windows. Tommy's has been our first big sponsor here for Gridiron Football's Ballin in the Boot show. And we can't thank Tommy Kissinger enough. At this point, you have to get things replaced. You have to get things done, right? And if it's your windows, your doors, your sidings, Tommy's is your guy. Tommy and his crew are your people. So go Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, Steer Home Improvement Company, located in Baton Rouge. We're not football. We're based in Denham Springs, but we're in the Baton Rouge area. 20 years of experience. You can trust them to replace your faulty windows, entry doors, siding, and gutters. If you need porch screens or patio covers installed, we've got you covered there too. Our experienced crew can help you decide on the perfect exterior replacement features for your home. Call 225-250-8808 to get reliable siding, door, or window installation services, or just go to Go Tommy's. That's GEAUX Tommy's.com. Call Tommy's and you will see the difference clearly. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Doors and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808.
All right, guys, welcome back. We're here back on Ballin in the Boot. Your host, Jace Lejeune, and we just talked with a couple coaches. We talked to two coaches already, and we might be able to get a couple more by the end of tonight. But just want to make an announcement, guys. So we're actually going to have – we know we have our Friday show, right, where we recap all the scores. We talk to coaches. Well, you've probably seen us only once, and or if you're just starting to see us now, we know we have the Friday show. But we're going to have an extension, right, of Ballin in the Boot. You see us on every Friday night. We're also going to have a show on Monday as well. Starting this Monday, we're going to have some special guests. Spencer Verret from the LHSAA Network is going to be joining me on Monday. As you know, the high school playoff brackets will be released on Sunday, sometime in the afternoon, but all the Louisiana high school football brackets will be released on Sunday. And we'll I'll go over all the playoff brackets. We'll break down each of the playoff brackets from Division I all the way to Division IV, all the non-select and the select playoff brackets. We'll be going over those. And each team's road to the Dome, we'll break those down on Monday. We'll have that show posted for you, hopefully by Monday evening. And we'll go and break down each and every week as we get closer to the road to the Dome. And that will be our Monday show. We'll always have our Friday show after all the games have been concluded at 10:30. Well, we're going to go start really diving into our Louisiana high school scoreboard. So I'm going to pull up Score Stream. And like you mentioned, like I said before, if you just joined us, thank you so much. Make sure to share it out. And we hope that this can be your football fix every Friday night. We want you to be more involved. We want the fans to be involved. We get coaches on the show. We want the fans to be involved as well. So if you have the score that you want to report, if you have a comment about your team, let's start the comments a little bit. So make sure to comment below. Hey, if you just want to give a shout out to your team, you say go Yellow Jackets or go Tigers or whatever, feel free to comment. We want y'all to be involved with the show. So feel free to comment below. If you have a comment about your team, we'll also address it on the show. We'll get you a shout out on the show for being involved as well. All right, so let's see here. Let's get the scoreboard going. We'll add to the stage here. As you see, voila, our Louisiana high school football scoreboard. And presented by, once again, Tommy's Windows. So Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Sidings. Make sure you give them a call, 225-250-8808, or go to gotommys.com. All right, so Haynesville gets a big win tonight, 47-0 over Glenbrook. Haynesville looking pretty strong right now. We're going to go over the playoff rankings as we see them, but Haynesville looks like they're a lock for that Division 4 non-select number 1 seed. Isaiah Washington's a really great football player, an LSU commit. He's a quarterback. He's been playing both sides of football for the Tornadoes the last couple of years, and Haynesville's going to be dangerous once again. They fell short the last couple of years of winning the actual state championship, but still going to be a scary team once the playoffs come up. This game's still going on. I know that for a fact, but De La Salle is up 42-23. I knew this was going to be a late one. They're probably just about to put this one to bed, but 42-23 looks like De La Salle is going to pull away and get the victory there tonight. How about Jules Sumner? They complete, which was a dominant, undefeated regular season. It's going to be, I'm not sure they're going to get that number 1 seed, but still an impressive season from the Jules Sumner Cowboys to beat Amite as well. Amite has been playing some of their best football as of late at the end of the season. So impressive win for Coach Career and the Jules Sumner Cowboys, 21-7 to get a good win. Our first comment tonight, Lewis Wallace, of course, Ian's dad. Mr. Wallace has been a proud supporter of the show all season long. Good evening, man. What a game for the Flyers. I heard it was a great finish. I know that was a really big game between Loyola and Northwood of Shreveport. You can let me know, Mr. Wallace, if I'm wrong. I think the last time I saw, was it 28-27? Was that the final of that game? I believe it was 28-27, Loyola up on top. I think I knew it was like a 1-point game. I knew it had to go down to the wire. But what a game it was for Loyola. And how about the Flyers? 9-1 to end the season. Yep, yes, so that's correct. So 28-27, Loyola College Prep. What a season for the Flyers. They're having a great season. Only loss on the season. You can't really hang your head with that one because North DeSoto looks like one of the top 10 teams in the state for sure from what they were able to do all season long. To beat West Monroe was impressive in itself, but 9-1 in the season for Loyola. And I know that was a big game. And it's really big for Loyola as well because, you know, you played really great this whole season. You go to 8-0. And I know those are two really tough ones back-to-back to play North DeSoto, then play Northwood of Shreveport. But if you feel a lot better about yourself when you finish, go 1-1 in those games. If you go 8-0 and then you finish, 0-2 in your final 2 games, it's a little bit different. So you want to enter the playoffs feeling really good about yourself and feeling good about your situation. So that was a huge win for the Flyers. So congratulations, Mr. Wallace. I know Ian, Bryce, Ty, the rest of the company. Man, they're going to be a tough out when the playoffs start. Starting next week, and we'll talk all about it when we break down the brackets on our playoff show, which will be on Monday evening. Looking forward to that. But going back to Jules Sumner, I appreciate the comments there, Mr. Lewis. So 21-7, Jules Sumner, they finish undefeated. They finished at 10-0. And the Cowboys, they had one of the best seasons last year, and they've upped their ante, and they look like they're going to be even better this year as we go forward. But 21-7, the Cowboys, they get a win over Amite. That's a huge win considering how dominant Amite has been over really the last decade plus. So great win for the Cowboys, and getting a win like that. They're also going to be they're going to be really fun, man. They're going to be a sleeper. It's kind of hard to really say that they're a sleeper in a bracket, but the Division 3 Select is also a really deep bracket with a lot of great teams. So they're going to be a tough out for sure. JS Clark, they looks like this is fourth quarter. It looks like JS Clark's got this one handled pretty good. 50-30 against Acadiana Renaissance in a high-scoring game there. Pope John Paul, they get a win over a team in how about Raleigh, North Carolina, in St. David's. They won that football game 54-6. Pope John Paul gets to win 54-6 over St. David's. We have Albany. I'll give a shout out to Coach Travis Michael, a friend of the show and a friend of Gridiron Football. They end the regular season with a 46-28 win over Bogalusa. And we got another coach on the show, so we're going to bring him on. He's joining us, and hey, we're getting some star-studded cast tonight, and we got to bring him on, of course. Coach Adrian Burnette from Franklin Parish. Coach, what's going on, Coach? I got myself a big win tonight over Tioga, and hey, Coach, you got to be playing your best ball at the right time, and what a great win to really get going and end the regular season and get going to the playoffs, right? Trying to get Coach Adrian Burnette on. Let's see. We got some technical difficulties, but we'll try to get him on. Let's see. Try to get him back on here. ERAF. Let's see. We'll try now. Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, man. I'm sorry.
You're good, Coach. But what a win tonight over Tioga. And I've always said that y'all want to be a threat this year. And Coach, you know as good as anybody, like you have to feel really good about yourself after week 10 as you really start the playoffs. And to get a win like that tonight against Tioga, which has been a really good team this year and has put up a lot of points, you must be really happy the way your team performed tonight.
Yeah, man, most definitely, man. We we battled some injuries early on in the season, had a lot of young guys playing, but we knew once we get to week 9, week 10, especially we had the opportunity to get everybody back healthy. Our playmakers and our guys would stay on the field, play both sides of the ball, and really play 48 minutes of football, and that's what they did tonight.
Absolutely, Coach. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It was 61-22 tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, absolutely, 61-22. Franklin Parish over Tioga, and Coach. Really, this is a team in Tioga that they've been really rolling this year. I mean, I believe 8-9 wins this year. They've been put up a lot of points. I know Kervin Johnson's definitely a player that y'all really studied on film, the LSU commit. How proud, before I even go in the offense, because I know we all can do offensively, you have a lot of great talent on the defense side of football. How proud of you are the defense and how they performed tonight?
Man, they played very well, man. We all know that offense gonna sell tickets, but the defense is gonna win the championships, man. Coach Boxer did a fantastic job, game plan wise. The defensive staff, have really been doing a great job coaching. Just being physical and playing, relentless football. And this time of year, man, we try to put our best 11 on the field, whomever they are. Desarian played both ways tonight. Trey Martin played both ways tonight. Chris Addison, Tavon Bell. So, getting those guys healthy enough and the team healthy enough where they can just be football players for us all night really helped us out tonight.
You talk about Desarian, and it seems like he's one of those guys. You can be a star player and you can do all of this and have all the athletic ability in the world, but it seems like he's a guy that's just so unselfish, just wants nothing but for Franklin Parish to succeed. And he's really proud of where he comes from. But talk about him being a leader of this team and going where he goes.
Well, he's been begging me obviously all year, man. To play both sides of the ball. And, I always knew that he could because of his athleticism and it's just, his want to. But we didn't want to sacrifice it too early. We had a long season. It's really about late November and December. But tonight, man, we took the reins off of him and just let him be a football player. Got an interception for a pick 6, dropped another one, threw 2 or 3 touchdowns, ran and showed that, overall player, man, he's one of the best in the state, man. He really is.
Yeah, really special athlete. And he can do flips and all that. And, he's just an athlete, just a natural athlete. He probably excels in anything he wants to do. But you talk about some of your best players, right? I mean, Trey Martin, you talked about Chris, you talked about Taven, you talk about all those guys, right? But them playing both ways and just how be able to lean on those guys and, hey, that they're unselfish to say, hey, whatever you need me, coach, I can play multiple positions if you need me, whatever's best for the team. I'm sure that's that championship mindset that you want from some of your best guys. I'm sure it just emulates through the rest of the team.
Right. So these guys are my day one guys. I came in with them. We started this journey together, this rebuild or build, if you will, of Franklin Parish. And the one mantra that we've always had, you don't play offense, you don't play defense, you play football. Whatever coach asks you to do, whatever they need you to do. Now, they've been wanting to do it a lot earlier, but like I said, as a head coach, I kind of just tried to find the right time. Obviously, late in district and playoff time is the time to really just allow them to be what they are. But man, I got some fantastic kids across the board, guys guys you don't know, that have really bought into the program, and they are the reason that we're here today. And I love them and I appreciate them.
Well, Coach, if I'm any defensive coordinator, I'm not sleeping at night if I'm seeing Dez and I'm seeing Trey in the backfield. That's for sure. But I mean, great players really make coaches look good for sure. That's kind of like the old mantra. But just having those two guys in the backfield, and how much stress do really both of them really put on the defense?
Well, I mean, I think it's tremendous stress because, right when you figure you got those two guys kind of bottled up and figured out, man, you had DJ Neal, who's technically was the starting running back last year, ran for 1,200 yards, just now coming back from an injury. Then you throw in Karen Jones in the slot, Malik Credit. You got Caden Seals, who plays big boy ball on the outside. And, along with Takorian Spears. And like just overall, man, they just do a fantastic job being selfless, giving whatever they got for the team, and we just playing great team ball, and I'm proud of them for that.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And to end the regular season, 8-2. I mean, ever since the Ouachita loss, and I mean, Ouachita their record's really deceiving because I feel like they can be 8-2. I mean, 7-3, just how they've been playing. It's just a tough district that they're in. But what really clicked for y'all, ever since that loss, because y'all been really on a tear, not only winning games, but y'all been on the tear, since dropping that game.
It just so happened timing wise, man, we was, like I said, man, people, we everybody knows our stars, the guys you call out.
Right.
But people don't realize, man, we lost 12 starters last year. We played a lot of freshmen early in the season, had a lot of our big name guys. Chris Addison was out beginning of the season along with DJ Neal and Jeremiah Lewis. We had a lot of starters out, but it did give us an opportunity to build depth and truly kind of bring everything together. And going into district like week 5, week 6, week 7, guys started coming back. And now where we are right now, this is probably truly the first time we've been healthy across the board.
Yeah, and it comes at a good time, right? As you get ready for the playoffs. And we're going to talk about that and kind of like the run to the Dome, because I know that's definitely been a key for y'all, Coach. I know we have one guy we offered for the bowl game, and I believe he's committing to play in the bowl game for y'all, Avery Johnson. Talk about Avery and how much of an impact he's had for y'all this year.
Man, I'm gonna use Coach Boxley's term, man. He's a Swiss Army knife, man. Whatever you need, he's also a kid that you laugh at it, man. Don't care about his body, man. He throws his body around, whether it's jumping and diving for an interception, whether it's tackling, or it's taking a kickoff to the house, man. He's one of the better kickoff return guys that I've ever been around. And it's a lot of it just because of how hard he runs and how hard he goes. But he's one of those old school football players, that's going to do whatever it takes on the field, and he'll deal with the aches and pains, later that night or the next day. But, Avery Johnson's another one of those seniors that's the cornerstone in this program, and he's another one I love and appreciate.
It helps when you get all these guys, especially with the season y'all had last year. Going 10-2 like y'all did, the undefeated district championship, and then making the quarters. But I know like the next step, and we're going to talk about the playoffs coming up. But 8-2, have a chance to do really something special. But right now, we won't fully know until Sunday, obviously, when all the numbers are cranked up. But right now, y'all are number 7, I believe, number 7 seed going in, I believe. Only teams ahead. I see Bruley, Plaquemine, Lakeshore, Belle Chase, Iowa, and North DeSoto. Just talk about that bracket and what's going to take when you see those teams to come out of that bracket and accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish.
Well, man, whoever you get, starting in it around Thanksgiving and on, man, it's going to be a tough opponent. That means they've done what they had to do to get whatever ranking they have and did whatever they had to do to get to that particular round. That's a round that we bumped our heads on last year in the quarters. Had an Iowa team, but man, what they did do is they just showed us the resiliency and the toughness that you need in the playoffs. We greatly appreciate them for it, and we just look forward to do better this year, man, and have a good playoff run.
Absolutely, Coach. And I believe in this bracket, is it the top 4 seeds that get a bye?
Get the bye, yes. Okay. So we won't have a bye this year, no, sir.
Okay. So I just want your thoughts on that. I mean, a team that's playing really good. I know y'all starting to get healthy and get everybody back. Y'all playing really great football over the last 5 games. Are you kind of on the fence? Do you want to use that bye and heal up, or do you want to just keep on playing? Knowing how the team has been playing really great.
Man, I think we used the whole damn season to heal up. So. I mean, football is funny, man. You can ask 7 different coaches and they give you 7 different answers. I just think it's good and bad. If you need some rest and some recovery, it's good. Situation where you got some good rhythm going on. Like I think we have right now. I kind of want to just stick with what we got going. So with that being said, man, us not having a bye, us playing the first round, I think it's going to be good for us.
Absolutely. I'm sure tomorrow y'all going to be kind of looking at teams that y'all could potentially play, kind of like 3 or 4 teams, like, hey, we can play this team or that team. But what's basically just the plan next week to get ready for that road to the Dome and obviously not have a lot of hard physical practices, kind of heal up at the same time, also getting ready for this run.
Well, it's funny. I was just talking to my coaches about that, man. We have to figure out a perfect balance, which I don't think it is. Of keeping the physicality, because I truly believe that was the separation in the night tonight, how physical and fast we played. So you definitely don't want to take that away from them, but you want to make sure that I have an opportunity to heal. I have an opportunity where I don't get anything fluke happen to me during the week. So we're just going to try to continue to go like we've been going, keep practice the same, try to keep it upbeat, but let's make sure it's probably a little more mental than physical at times.
Absolutely, Coach. And just I'm going to let you on your way because I know it's a late day. You got school all day. You got to prepare for this game. And, and you're just kind of sitting back and enjoying this one before we get to the playoffs next week. But just any final thoughts on just the regular season and one phase of it is done, but also getting ready for the next phase, which is the postseason.
Well, I just think at the end of the day, man, this is what we've built ourselves for. To be ready late November, December. And again, just proud of the kids, proud of the community, the administration, to help build and get us where we are now. And now it's just time for us to just kind of do what we have to do. Stay focused, play hard, and let the chips fall where they may.
Absolutely. Not bad when you repeat as well. I mean, back-to-back, I believe, undefeated district championship. So, got the shirt back-to-back.
Yeah.
I love that, Coach. I love that. Pulling the shirts out. So let's go out and get another T-shirt, Coach. I'm sure that's the state championship shirt.
There you go.
Absolutely, Coach Burnette. Appreciate your time as always, and looking forward to see what the Patriots. I know that's going to be a really dangerous team. I talk about.
There you go, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Coach Adrian Burnette from Franklin Parish joining us here tonight. Coach Burnette does an awesome job with the Patriots. And hey, if I can be a betting man, I might put some money on those Patriots to make a run. They are really talented. They're healthy at the right time. They're getting some of their key pieces really healthy. When they're all together, they are going to be really good. They got a lot of great players. Their best players are playing both ways. And when you get 2 guys that LSU's looking at pretty good in your backfield, there's not a lot of people talent-wise that can keep up with that. Earl Landry, ERAF 40-12, now 10-0. That's what I'm talking about, Mr. Landry. And ERAF. I'm sure we talk about Jack. Jack Landry is having an awesome season. I know he's committed to play in our bowl game at the end of the year, 10-0. What a season that they've had this year for the Bobcats. I know they had a great regular season last year, but it's not a fluke. They are really good. Coach LeBlanc does a great job with his team, and they're going to be scary as well. When you have a veteran quarterback that's in total command of the offense like Jack is, and their defense is playing a lot of complementary football, that's what makes you 10-0. And ERAF is definitely going to be a team to keep an eye on. Gridiron football. No, I did not comment this. I did not comment as me. So only thing I can say it is Andy. So appreciate that, Andy. Appreciate that. It means a lot. I mean, just talking high school football, can't get any better than this. And for you to allow me to have this, it's really rewarding, and it's been really fun. And awesome. Just to let y'all know, guys, know if y'all been saying a lot of prayers about Andy. He is back at home. He's resting. He's recovering. And I'm making sure that he is recovering because we're going to need him for our Gridiron Bowl game at the end of the year. Because trust me, I ain't doing this by myself. I know that for a fact. So I definitely need Andy for sure. And we're going to get Andy back and well rested and ready to go for a bowl game. Because obviously his team has to win. He talks about last year not winning that bowl game last year. Well, he's going to try to win it this year. So we definitely going to need you back. And appreciate all the comments, all the thoughts and prayers going to Andy. But he's recovering right now. He's with the family. And that's the best medicine that there is, relaxing at home with the family. So I appreciate all the thoughts and prayers going our way since Andy's been gone. And looking forward to having him back, bugging me 24 hours a day, it seems like. So I appreciate that. Well, man, we had a great show. I feel like this is one of the best shows we've had this year. We've had some great coaches come on the show. Coach Burnette from Franklin Parish. We've had Coach Robert Valdez from St. Augustine. Coach Kent Gable over there from Westminster Christian in Lafayette. So, it's been a great show. We'll still talk about some of those scores around the state of Louisiana as we approach over an hour. Let's go and add the scoreboard back to the show. As Coach Burnette, we might have another one or two coaches. It's getting kind of late, 11:30, so probably the rest of the show we'll go over some of the scores and talk about the playoff brackets coming up. So here we go, guys. So I left off at Albany. Coach Travis getting a 46-28 win over Bogalusa. That's where I left off at. Prairieville gets a 39-20 win over Benton. Okay, let's see here. We have Newton County with a 48-20 win over Claiborne Academy. River Oaks in overtime over there in Monroe. 40-34 win over Silva Bay High School in Bay Springs, Mississippi. Tallulah gets a 22-18 win over Briarfield. We just talked to Coach Gable. A great game, a great win to finish the regular season, solidify their playoff chances for sure. 20-19, Westminster gets to win over Vermilion Catholic. How about Ascension Catholic as the Bulldogs are district champions this year? Trevin Simon, who is going to play in our Gridiron Football American Bowl game. It's just been video game numbers. He's putting up Chad Elsie numbers like Chad did last year. Another, 5 touchdowns? I'm trying to think what he had. But he probably had about 5 touchdowns rushing tonight. But it is pretty insane. 5 touchdowns on the ground. Great win for Ascension Catholic to clinch another district championship and get themselves on the run to the Dome. How about Aaron Weiss? A big win over South Plaquemines, the defending Division IV non-select state champions. Aaron Weiss and the Greenies, they've been really getting it going on. Jake Randall, the star quarterback for the Greenies, he's been playing some really good football, and they've been playing great down the stretch. I had Coach Weiss on a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about their big win over Riverdale, and it seemed like that win over Riverdale really sparked things with this Newman football team, and they've been playing great football over the second half of the season, playing their football at the right time. Liberty, a really good season for Jimmy Zachary in his debut year for Liberty, and I'm trying to see where exactly they are at playoff-wise. They are 6-4 in the season. Looks like they'll be in the playoffs, so making a run. Let's see who they draw up, because they've been very dangerous this year, or the Liberty Panthers. Leesville gets a 56-24 win over Lagrange. Tonight we have Gaydon defeating Highland Baptist 28-10 over Highland Baptist. Kinder, we had Coach Reed on the show last week. Kinder, another team that is undefeated on the season. They finished the regular season 10-0 to end the season. So congratulations on the Yellow Jackets, an undefeated regular season. We'll see what kind of run the Yellow Jackets have once playoff selection is done. So great win there to end the regular season. Did not get tripped up by the Avoyles Mustangs at the end of the season. 10-0, special season for sure. And it's going to continue in the playoffs. Franklinton, 41-17 over Archbishop Hannon. The Demons, they had a special season last year. They're trying to get back to the Superdome when they fell just a couple plays short of going to the of winning the state championship game over Cecilia last year. Wassman gets a 29-20 win over Peabody up there. Great win for the Wildcats. I believe Loreauville had to come back tonight to get the win 15-14 over West St. Mary, the Wolfpack. We have West Feliciana getting a 48-0 win over the Terra Trojans. Coach Mathern and the East Ascension Spartans, they get a 35-20 win over the Walker Wildcats for Coach Mathern. A good season, and they'll be in the playoffs as well. Dasherhan and Thibodaux. Dasherhan, really impressive performance. 49-26. Dasherhan really Thibodaux has been one of those teams that's been having a great season. I mean, you look at it, I believe they went in with Thibodaux, 8-2 to finish the regular season, and Dasherhan going to try to clinch the district championship, at least a share of the district championship. But Dasherhan playing great football at the right time. When Dasherhan gets hot, this is the time of year where Dasherhan plays their best football, and they make runs in the playoffs. And won't shock me, Dasherhan makes a run, gets back to the Superdome. I think they're going to be one of those contenders to watch out for when we talk about Division I non-select. A big win tonight for Dasherhan for sure. 49-26. Great first season for sure, and it's going to continue. They'll be in the playoffs, and I'm sure they'll make a run. But 49-26, Dasherhan gets the win over the Tigers. Kaplan defeats St. Martinville 28-20. The Pirates get the victory over the Tigers. The St. John Eagles, how about a season for Coach Trosclair and the St. John Eagles? They end the season, and give a shout to Dad. I know my dad, Ron Lejeune, is the offensive coordinator at St. John, and 7-3 on the season for the Eagles. They defeat White Castle 35-6. A great season for sure for Coach Tro and the Eagles. I know Coach Tro's been on the show this year, so a great win there for the Eagles. Going to give them a shout out tonight. St. James, they shut out Berwick tonight, 63-0. St. James, once again, they're going to be really good. They're going to make a run at this thing in the Dome. Delta Charter, 32-29. They defeat St. Frederick tonight up there in Faraday. St. Charles Catholic, they are rolling. How about you shut out Archbishop Shaw? I mean, Coach Stein's been on our show this year, and I've just nothing but respect for St. Charles Catholic and how well coached they are, how disciplined they are, and to shut out Archbishop Shaw. And I mean, obviously, because Shaw has won the state championship last year, they got some impressive wins this year. They beat LCA this year. But for St. Charles Catholic to shut out Shaw, I got to say, I'm really impressed. And, St. Charles Catholic, forget about what happened last year. I think it was just a mixture of just being young and, some injuries, and that can happen to the best of them. But watch out. St. Charles Catholic right now the number 1 seed in Division 2 select, and then going to finish the season at 9-1. Great win over Hank Tierney and the Shaw Eagles. We already talked to Coach Valdez. What a win for Coach Valdez and the Purple Knights. St. Augustine. Right now, I believe they are the number 3 seed in Division 1 select. And, 9-1 the season. The only loss of the season this year was against Endicott, 55-28. The Purple Knights get the job done. We have Central. They got the big win last week over Zachary. A little bit of a high-scoring affair there. But Central gets a 48-7 win over the Scotlandville Hornets. How about Salmon? They get the district championship. Coach Shooter and the Spartans, they clinched the district championship tonight, 28-24 with a win over Chalmette. We have Sacred Heart. Give a shout out to Coach Aguilar. They have a great season this year for the Trojans, 42-6 over Bershman's Academy. So great win for Sacred Heart. How about Ruston? I mean, that 2-5A district is so tough when we talk about it. I think you had 4 teams that are all vying for the district championship. I guess Ruston ended up winning it. I believe. I think, according to calculations, I think Ruston ended up winning the district championship, but I believe Ruston had a hand in it. West Monroe obviously had a hand in it. You had Neville, Ash, all 4 of those teams, I think, had a shot at either tying the district championship or winning. When we talk about 2-5A or 9-5A, the Catholic League, and then obviously that North Louisiana district, there might not be a better district in the state than those 2 districts, and you see why. Ruston hanging on to get the win over West Monroe, 49-44. That district is just insane. Each and every week. Andy won't give you a shout out tonight because guess what? Your Rose Pine Eagles finally get the dub. They are not winless this year. I mean, they're not going to be unwinless this year. They win tonight, 40-34. So give a shout out to Andy and his Eagles because they do win. They will not be winless this year. So big win there for the Eagles over East Beauregard, 40-34. As Coach Weldon gets the job done, they get the win over East Beauregard tonight. Prairieville having a great season this year, 42-0. How about that over St. Thomas Aquinas? Prairieville having a really great year this year. Especially just going into the deep end, like I talk about, and they'll make the playoffs too. How about that? Going 5-5 in your second year in varsity action. I mean, that is pretty impressive. I mean, just to go in the deep end like that, go 5-5, make the playoffs, and we'll see. I mean, they were able to upset some teams this year and make things interesting. So keep an eye on those Hurricanes over at Prairieville because they have been something for sure. U-High, remember I called this game last week. They clinched the district championship with that win, that 14-8 win over Madison Prep. And they clinched the district championship even more with a win like that, 42-6. And basically last week they clinched at least a share, but now they clinched the whole thing with the win over Port Allen, 42-6 over the Pelicans. We have Hammond. Give a shout out to Coach Dorset Buckles, 35-28. Close win, but Hammond able to get the job done. And Dorset Buckles having a really good season for the Hammond Tornadoes. Watch out for them as well. 35-28. The Hammond Tornadoes get the job done. All right, how about St. Paul's? They won district last week over Mandeville, and they defeat Covington while they're at it. 34-14. Coach Sears and the Wolves get the job done here tonight. They end the season at 8-2 in the regular season. This is the game I called tonight. Episcopal, a great second half of the year. They win convincingly. I'll talk about that game as we wrap up the show tonight. 48-0. Episcopal gets the win over Capital. They started the season 1-4. They finished their last 5 games going 4-1. So 5-5 on the season. Great job by the Episcopal coaching staff for them to bounce back and have a great second half of the year, led by Travis Bourgeois. 48-0. Great bounce back after the blowout loss last week against Dunham. How about Andre Anthony, the former LSU Tiger, LSU defensive lineman? That all he did in his first year at Bonneville is win a district championship. That's something we haven't talked about that much, but a lot of kudos have to go to the Bruins this year and Bonneville for winning the district championship over Riverdale. So great job by Coach Anthony and the entire staff to get a win like that, 35-12 over Riverdale. Great win for Bonneville for sure. It's something to be very proud of to win district. And hey, he has to be in the running, right? Coach Narcisse, Coach Anthony, those are some of the guys that really need to be considered for Coach of the Year for what they're able to do this year. Pine, they end the regular season with a 48-12 win over Springfield, over the Bulldogs over there. Good win, and Coach Seal and company going to be ready for the playoffs moving forward. Pickering gets a 31-6 win over Plain Dealing. We have Patterson. How about Patterson? The Lumberjacks get a 28-19 win over the Donaldsonville Tigers. Great win there for the Lumberjacks. I know they got a couple guys playing in their bowl game at the end of the year. Young Audiences Charter gets a 36-0 win over Patrick Taylor. Remember what happened last week with Evangel Christian. They lose a nail-biter to LCA. We had Coach Chop Stanford on our show last week to talk about it. Remember that was the fumble from Pop Houston at the 1-yard line, recovered by LCA. That pretty much sealed the victory for the Knights, but a great bounce back for Pop Houston, for Evangel, and they're still going to be dangerous, and they can make a run this year because of that offense and how explosive they really are. But Evangel, they are looking good right now. 8-2 for Pastor Denny and the Eagles. Finished 8-2 in the regular season, and now focus is at hand with the playoffs moving forward. Red River having a great season. They won district last year. I don't think a lot of people talked about that, but they obviously had a great year. But Red River coming in 6-4 at the end of the season, about 54-18 win over Oakdale. I believe they win district once again. Turlings Catholic completes an undefeated regular season with a 36-6 win over Northside. Turlings, I believe, will get the number 2 seed in the playoffs. We're talking about the Division I select. Got a chance to see them in person against East Ascension, and they're going to be real. They're going to be legit, and watch out for the Rebels. They're going to be really good in the playoffs. And what a season Coach Corville's had in his first year at Turlings Catholic. Alex Munoz leading the way at quarterback. They've been a great combination. Both been kind of like father-sons. They grew up around the game of football. Both have dads, have been coaches for a long time. So, and you see that that son relationship kind of go, and they kind of feed off of that, right? So, great win there for Turlings Catholic, undefeated season. Slidell gets a 42-3 win over North Shore. Great win for Coach Page and the Tigers. I mean, showing no mercy there, 42-3. For sure for Slidell. 6-4. Great bounce back season for the Tigers. East Louisiana, they defeat Northeast 58-14. This is one of the biggest upsets I didn't really see coming tonight, but it did happen. Ascension Christian upset tonight. Big upset. How about Ascension Christian upsetting North Iberville? North Iberville only had one loss this season, and that was against Ascension Catholic. And the end of the regular season, we're going to see how much this hurts them in terms of their seeding. But yeah, I mean, a stumble there at the end of the season for North Iberville to lose to Ascension Christian 25-24. I mean, gotta admit, huge win there for the Lions to end the regular season. And man, what does this make about North Iberville moving forward? And can they bounce back as they begin the playoffs next week? We have Southside, Jess Curtis. Man, they're really ramping up on offense. You saw the 70 points scored in Karen Crow last week. Now 65 scored against New Iberia this week. The Sharks offense is really biting, I tell you that. 65-7 over New Iberia. Natchez Central gets a 27-13 win over Benton. We have Minden getting a 42-0 win over Southwood. Mansfield with a 28-10 win over Manny. We have Mamou 58-0 over Pine Prairie. Lutcher, it was all Lutcher Bulldogs. Impressive win for Coach Jenkins. 42-3. Your final score, Lutcher over South Lafourche. And we talked about Lewis Wallace' comment earlier of the score, but Loyola College Prep ends the regular season at 9-1, 28-27 over Northwood Shreveport, and a squeaker over the Falcons. Lincoln Prep, 51-28 over Arcadia. We have St. Mary's 58-0 over Lakeview. Winfield 20-6 over Lakeside. LCA won this game by forfeit, so they finished the season 9-1. It turns out, I believe Lake Arthur had some injuries and decided to forfeit the win and hand the win over to LCA. Lafayette with a 41-14 win over the Sulphur Golden Tours. Jonesboro Hodge gets a 30-0 win over Cedar Creek. John Ehret with a shutout tonight, 27-0 over West Jefferson. Jennings, 27-6 win in the regular season for the Bulldogs. They went 27-6 in that game. Let's see who we have here. Jennings finished the season at 7-3. Jeanneret going to be looking really strong as well. Jenneret's going to make a run, 9-1. They finished the regular season, so great season there for the Tigers. 16-0 over Hanson Memorial. How about this game? Brewery's high up there, Division 2 non-select with a 9-1 record, but their defense has been pretty salty this year. But how about this 6-0 win, edging out Astruma, only winning that game 6-0 over the Indians. Very interesting, but you see they get the job done, though. I mean, defense wins championships. Might as well. It doesn't matter how pretty it looks, as long as you win games. That's what matters. Northwest gets a 45-14 win over Iota. We have North Lake Christian 57-15 over Independence. Homer against Darbon Woods Charter, 49-42, a little bit of a shootout right there, but the Pelicans able to outlast the Timberwolves. Brother Martin gets a 31-3 win, a convincing win for Coach Bonise and the Crusaders, 31-3 over Holy Cross. Houghton, I believe Dak Prescott attended that game, 58-34 over St. Louis Catholic. The Buccaneers get the job done. Green Oaks gets a 58-6 win over Magnolia School of Excellence. We just talked to Coach Adrian Burnette over there at Franklin Parish, 61-22 over Tioga tonight. We have Mandeville, 42-20 over Fontainebleau. Good win for the Skippers. Let's see here. Faraday, they bounced back. Faraday is going to be pretty dangerous in the playoffs, 46-6 over Rayville. They had a couple of losses, but hey, they played some tough teams. Oak Grove, Washita Christian, Mangum. Those are some tough teams to play against. Eunice with a 64-50 win over Washington Marion. We have HL Bourgeois, 38-20 over East St. John. How about E.D. White? So Vanderbilt Catholic came into this football game undefeated at 9-0. I was going to tell you, let's really good measuring stick on Vanderbilt Catholic would be their game against E.D. White. And over the years, E.D. White has really dominated this in this rivalry. But, Vanderbilt Catholic played close. You knew it was going to be a close game. But give a shout out to Coach Hossein and the E.D. White Cardinals for getting the job done. And I believe winning the district championship for the Cardinals. So I know that was going to go down to the district title. But congratulations, Coach Hossein and the Cardinals. And a great win for E.D. White as they really got things going for sure. They're looking really dangerous in the second half of the year. Remember, E.D. White was in the state championship game a year ago and really made it tough on Archbishop Shaw. Dunham, they end the season at 9-1 with a convincing 49-14 win over Slaughter Charter. We have Vinton with a 21-17 win over DeQuincy. And how about Denham Springs, man? Watch out for the Yellow Jackets. Denham Springs 54-26 over Sanoma. The Goldman Twins, a veteran football team. Watch out for Denham Springs. They can make a run, and I believe the Yellow Jackets are your district champions. So congratulations for Denham Springs, Coach Beard. And, Denham Springs is having a great season, and it's going to be a fun ride to see what they do in the playoffs. Huge win over the San Juan Gators. Country Day with a 42-0 win over Collegiate. We have Kentwood 44-14 over Central Private. Terrebonne, Coach Tyra Lewis, give him a shout out, 52-25 over Central Lafourche. We have Covenant Christian getting a 49-6 win over Central Catholic. West St. John 46-0 over Centerville. St. Thomas More 55-7 over North Vermilion. We have Catholic New Iberia 42-8 over Homa Christian. Richwood 36-14 over Carroll. We have Acadiana Karen Crow. That's always a great rivalry game. And Acadiana able to edge out Karen Crow tonight, 21-14. Great win for the Wrecking Rams. Coach Dotson and Acadiana getting the job done. 51-6 Calvary Baptist over North Caddo. Gina defeating Buckeye 52-0. Booker T. Washington up in Shreveport with a 40-14 win over Woodlawn of Shreveport. Ringgold with a 40-0 win over Bolton. We have Bell Chase. Bell Chase having a great season. Give a shout out to Coach Myers and Bell Chase, the Cardinals, getting the job done tonight. 55-0 for Bell Chase, and a great season for them as well, coming in with a 9-1 overall record. How about this? Beekman Charter, I guess this is not a basketball score, but 86-58 over Madison. What a game for Beekman Charter. Hopefully it took the over in that game. That's all I got to say. 86 points. I don't think you'll see a lot of high school games get to that, but pretty impressive there for the Beekman Charter Tigers. North Webster, they get a 31-0 win over Bastrop. Barb, how about Barb? 70-49. They not quite 86 points, but hey, 70 points is pretty impressive over Sam Houston. All right, let's see some other scores. Let's see who we haven't called. Bro Bridge defeating Livonia 22-19. Didn't call that one. We talked about Bell Chase. How about Bel Air? Bel Air beating Baker tonight 30-7 over the Baker Buffaloes. South Terrebonne gets a 16-14 win over Assumption. How about Lafayette Renaissance 25-24? I know Ascension Episcopal, I believe they were entering the game undefeated at 9-0, but Lafayette Renaissance able to put an end to that to end their undefeated season, 25-24. Neville. How about Neville, Coach Collins, and the Tigers getting the job done over Ash? That was another case scenario who would go and win that 2-5A district. You just don't know. One week you think Ash is the best team in the district. Then another week you think it was West Monroe. Then another week you think it's Ruston. So it just shows you how competitive it is in 2-5A. And this time, Neville with a statement, 31-14. The Willow School, 12-8 over Aberson Side Academy. How about ERAF? I know Mr. Landry commented about that one earlier. 40-12. The Bobcats, 10-0. What a season for ERAF. And right now. I'm trying to see where they would be in terms of the playoffs. I know they would be pretty high, obviously being they're number 5. So only teams ahead of them are Kinder, St. James, Sterlington, and Gina. And obviously we'll figure that all out when the playoff brackets are released on Sunday. Madonna 35, 56-18 over McMain. We have Mangum 49-8 over Delhi Charter. Great win for the Dragons, having a great season this year. Sophie B. Wright 27-14 over Booker T. Washington in New Orleans. And I believe that was Coach Dorsey's last game. I think he was going to retire at the end of the season for Sophie B. Wright. Live vote. I mean, they put up a lot of points this year, and they win a high-scoring game. I mean, a lot of firepower when we talk about live vote. I mean, Caden Jones, you have Calvin Hurston. They got a lot of great receiving talent on that, a lot of passing talent, on that live vote football team. Able to outscore, outduel, whatever word you want to throw in there, against the Dutchtown Griffins, 56-53. High-scoring game in the live vote Gables. They can win a lot of those shootouts with the talent that they have. Elton, McKinley Lemoyne, I'm sure had another great game running the football for the Indians, 42-0 over Maryville. We have Westgate, 42-7 over Como. Montgomery, 36-32 over LaSalle. And then Hamilton Christian, they also have an undefeated regular season, 39-13 over Brazil to win the district championship. Notre Dame, also going to be really tough when it comes to the playoffs. I believe they'll clinch at least, I think, the number 2 seed in the playoffs, or going to be at least a top 3 or 4 seed. And we talk about Division 3 select. Sterlington, how about Sterlington with a statement there too? 42-7 over Union Parish. Obviously, that was a rematch of the state championship game a couple of years ago, won by Sterlington, but this time it was all of Sterlington domination. This one, I'm going to talk about this game in a little bit. This was the game I was at Thursday night. Westminster Christian. I already talked about Westminster Christian and Lafayette. We're about to hear from the Westminster Christian Opelousas coach, but 37-22. Westminster Christian, what a season they've had, undefeated district championship and number 1 seed in Division 4 select. Southern Lab, they put up 74 points on Thrive Academy, 74-6 over the Bulldogs. Plaquemine flexing their muscles against Broadmoor, 52-0. We have Parkview, 49-22 over Glen Oaks. Ouachita, 56-0 over Pineville. Ouachita is a better team than what their record may indicate. They've lost some close games. And I already told you about the district they play in. The Ashes of the world, the Nevils of the world, Alexandria, West Monroe. Yeah, and they play all those teams tough. So Ouachita Parish, don't let that record fool you. They are really good. 38-12, Grand Lake over Oberlin. How about this for a close one? 26-25, LB Landry over John F. Kennedy. Pearl River, 41-20 over Loranger. We have Lake Charles Prep. They put 66 points on the board against South Beauregard, 66-15. Holy Savior Bernard over Port Barry, 19-14. How about Hanville? This is a really good matchup. Hanville and Lakeshore, 28-21. Great bounce back win for Hanville after losing to Destrehan the week before. West Ouachita, high scoring game. Grant's lost some high scoring ones this year, but West Ouachita able to outlast the Cougars 54-52. General Trask is a 62-26 win over Delhi. Catholic Point Capee, 45-14. I thought that was a statement win as well because Opelousas Catholic's been really good this year. 45-14. Catholic Point Capee gets the win over the Vikings. Catholic High, we heard from Roman earlier on the show. He went to that game on Thursday. 41-7 over Zachary. Catholic High, once again, another district championship for the Bears. Captain Shreve, 35-27 over C.E. Bird. North DeSoto, 56-3 over Bossier. And I believe North DeSoto finished in the regular season undefeated. So does the Endicott Cougars, winning the Catholic League 35-14. A little bit of a slow start for the Endicott Cougars. Rummel jumped out, I believe, to a 14. I think a 14-0 lead or a 14-6 lead. But here's the thing: when you wake up the bear, when you wake up the bear, get ready. And unfortunately, that 14-0 lead woke up the bear, woke up the monster, and that is in the car. And then the car was able to cruise after that, 35-14. We mentioned Albany as well earlier on the show. I think that might be all the scores here. I'm going to check to see if there's anybody else I'm missing. Nope. We still have a couple more. Airline gets a 34-27 win over Huntington. This was a score that really was, and that game was actually more lopsided than what the score might indicate. But 34-21, Oak Grove over Washita Christian. Oak Grove has played some tough teams this year, and I think that's what happened here. Oak Grove a little bit more battle tested maybe than Washita Christian. And hey, you gotta give credit to Washita Christian. They beat the teams you're supposed to beat. But Oak Grove able to get the win in the rivalry game, the annual late season rivalry game between two powerhouse programs when you talk about Washita Christian and Oak Grove up in North Louisiana. This time, Oak Grove, Coach Ryan Gregory and the Tigers get the win 34-21. Iowa, they finished the regular season undefeated 47-14 over DeRitter. Jesuit gets a 45-36 win over Warren Easton. Haynes Academy, give a shout out to Coach Sprunk. They get a 55-18 win over Jefferson Rise Charter. Thomas Jefferson, 37-6 over Fisher. We have Logansport. We had our Gridiron Football Player of the Week this week, Keaton Kaysen, in Week 9. They played last night. Keaton Kaysen in Week 9, he actually had 6 touchdowns. He had touchdowns through the air, on the ground, and he actually caught a touchdown as well. And Logansport, they finished the season at 7-3 with a 42-6 win over Northwood Lena. And that, my friends, is Louisiana High School football scoreboard. We recapped all the scores around the state of Louisiana for Week 10. As we reach the midnight, as we reach the 12 o'clock hour, appreciate we got a lot of people still tuning in. Appreciate all of y'all that are tuning in the show tonight. We're going to take another commercial break. We have a shout out to Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Sidings. It's easy to follow. If you see the scrolling on the bottom of your screen, make sure to give Tommy's and Tommy's Windows a call. Tommy's and his crew a call, 225-250-8808. Or go to Go Tommy's. That's GEAUX Tommy's.com. Go Tommy's, proud supporter of Gridiron Football and the Ball in the Boot show. We'll be right back after this commercial break. When we come back, I'll talk about the games I went to this week, show you some highlights from the games I went to this week on my travels this week. So we'll be right back. You're watching Ball in the Boot. We'll be back after this short commercial break.
Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you affordable options to transform any home or business. 2525808. Go Tommy's. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly.
Welcome back, guys, as we're going to try to wrap up Ball in the Boot. We have a couple things to talk about. Obviously, when we wrap up the show, go over some of the standings right now. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of calculations, and I'm not a math guy, so I can't tell you. I probably can barely tell you what 2 + 2 is, really, be honest with you. But we'll go over some of the playoff standings and really the PowerPoints and where kind of everybody is at. when we wrap up the show tonight. But before we do that, we'll go over the second to last thing we're doing and go over some of the games I've been to this week, whether it's for Gridiron Football or whether it's for Varsity Sports Now. But first, I'm going to talk about Gridiron because obviously it's a Gridiron Football show. I'm talking about Gridiron Football. So here on Thursday, I'm saying, okay, where are my options on Thursday? Well, I can go to my alma mater. I can go see Catholic High play. But, I've seen Catholic play before. I've seen them play this year against U High. And, I thought with Zachary losing, to Central, like, okay, I might still consider that. But when I saw Westminster Christian playing St. Edmund, I thought that was a really good opportunity to see, a buddy of ours, Coach James. Really, both coaches are really close friends of Gridiron Football. Coach Byron Porter over at Westminster Christian, Opelousas, and Coach James Shiver over at St. Edmund. We've had a lot of players from the bowl game from both teams. We've had definitely Coach Shiver help us every year with the bowl game. So this was for the district championship, and that's a really tough district. Probably one that when we talk about those 2 5A districts, this might be right among them as far as like toughest districts to win, because you have to account for Westminster Christian, you got to account for St. Edmund, you got to account for Catholic Port-Capee, Opelousas Catholic, Sacred Heart. Like the list goes on and on about how tough it is to win that bracket, and it really is tough to win that district. And this is going to come down to the district championship, but this is also a huge opportunity for Westminster Christian to accomplish something they haven't done in really a long time, and that is win the district championship the first time since, I believe, 2016 was the last time they won the district championship, or go undefeated. And I don't think Westminster Christian's done that since 2011. So a lot of history on the line, but going to show you some of the highlights here. Hopefully y'all enjoying them. But Westminster Christian, they clinched the number 1 seed here. I believe it was 37-22. Being your final score. Kyle Horde, you'll hear from him in a little bit. But really just really, really impressive. Yeah, but get your thoughts on that. But we actually might have a special guest with me as well. So let's see we get here. But y'all enjoy these highlights first, and we might have a special guest in the show tonight. But, yeah, check out the highlights. This is Westminster Christian. Let's see, I can share my screen with y'all. The magic of technology. Okay, let's see if we can show this to y'all. Westminster Christian, Salmon. Check out some of the highlights.
Gentlemen, let's shake hands. All right, guys, you guys have been chosen captains. Congratulations for being chosen captains tonight. We expect good play tonight from both of you by leadership, right? Respect for the game, respect for the officials, respect for each other. That's mandatory tonight, right? Sure. Good. All right, as long as we're going to do that. So you're the visiting team, you're going to call it. Got heads and the tails, what are you going to call? Tails. What did he call? He called tails. Let's see what we're going to get. We have heads. We have heads, which means you've won the toss. What do you want to do? You want the ball. That sounds good. What goal do you want to defend?
I want to face the problem.
Well, that's going to determine at halftime. You want to go this way, so turn your backs to the clock. Kick away from the clock. You guys let me here.
Hey, we're going to add Spencer to the show as we're getting kind of late in this one. But, of course, we got to bring Spencer on the show as we're late. And we actually made the announcement, Spencer, as we're getting ready. But on Monday, you're actually going to be stopping by the Gridiron office, and we're going to break down the playoff brackets and everything on Monday. It's going to be a great show. I encourage everybody to go and watch it. We got a lot of people tuning in right now, Spencer. And I know you probably had yourself a busy night, doing some driving, putting on those miles tonight, right? So talk about tonight, South Plax and Newman, that experience tonight.
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me on, Jace. Obviously the car is surviving as best as it can, especially with the amount of stress and wear and tear I put on it. But there's nothing like traveling the state, going down to a place like South Plaquemines. Newman certainly had something to say about the district championship, though. From the team that we saw on the network at the start of the year to now is just a completely different team. Coach Weitz kind of described, this being a team that, he got there in May. And it took a lot of building, but I think they're now starting to play their best football at the best time. They won 28-0. It was 21-0 at halftime in the second half. Both teams kind of stuck to a ground game. But in the first half, I give a lot of credit to the kid who, he's a running back and being recruited as a running back, but he plays quarterback too, basically. Jake Randall, he's a stud. Throws 3 touchdown passes tonight. Adds a rushing touchdown in the fourth quarter or the third quarter, and they rolled tonight. I'm not too worried about either team heading into the playoffs. Obviously, South Plaquemines, kind of talked with Coach Feet afterwards, and pretty much everything that they want to accomplish this year is still in front of them. Mm-hmm. The only thing about Newman is that Division III is loaded, especially in the select side of things. How was your night, Jace?
Well, not too eventful. I mean, Episcopal, a lot of score keeping and tracking down in terms of like where Episcopal is going to be at and all that for the fans that are watching at home. But Episcopal took care of business 48-0. So they looked like a different team in the final 5 games of the season, Spencer. They started the season 1-4, but a lot of it had to do with the schedule that they played. But second half of the year, pretty much the only thing you can take away is the Dunham game. But besides that, they've been playing some of their best football, and 5-5 in their last 5 games at 4-1. And on a pretty strong note, I was actually taking a little bit of a break, and I was showing some of the highlights here with Westminster Christian and St. Edmund, showing that some of the highlights in the background here. We were both at that game last night. That was the Thursday night game that we were both at. Just want your initial thoughts of that game as well. A huge win for the Crusaders of Westminster Christian, and Kyle Horde had himself a great game as well. If there haven't been a lot of people talking about him that much, but keep an eye on Kyle Horde. I mean, he's still got another year left, and you got a guy that's that big, that's 6'2", 220 pounds, that can run like that and run away from people. He's going to be a problem, not only throughout the the rest of this playoff run, but next year too, you got to deal with him.
Yeah, last night's game was the second time I've seen Westminster this year. I saw them in the Battle of Westminster in like week 3, week 4, maybe. The thing is after that game, after I saw them in that game, I said that this is going to be a legit team that could legitimately go 10-0 and run the table. Part of it may have been just, recency bias at the time, but I'm glad the Crusaders proved me right and captured 10-0. A spirited performance, Coach Porter. I mean, he was loving it, man. I mean, first touchdown run, Kyle had Coach is running down with him, celebrating. Kind of reminds me a lot of Coach Crutchfield down in South Black. Whenever he, there's a couple of those touchdowns back in the day when he would run down and celebrate like that. But Westminster, it's a real good sort of turnaround that they've had from last year. I think they were in the second round and, kind of around that middle area of the grounds, not pushing at the top. And now they're the top seed heading into the playoffs. It's pretty much confirmed at this point that they're going to be number 1 seed, district champs, 10-0, and they look really good too. And, they could take that bye week, get a little help. Yeah. They definitely had their bangs and bruises last night, but I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see all these playoff brackets come out. This is like my favorite time of the year. We got volleyball state tournament next week. On Monday, we got cross country state championships, and then we get into the meat and potatoes of football playoffs, and it's just so exciting, Jace.
Yeah, it's like Christmas Eve almost, like when we talk about the playoff brackets being released, and then when the Superdome comes, it's like Christmas Day. I mean, it's nothing like to really describe it, but it's really the best time of the year. Obviously, you're going to be really busy with the LHSAA Network, get a chance to promote your stuff as well, what you and Steve and the whole gang over there, the LHSAA and Taylor at the LHSAA Network is doing. But we'll have the show. We'll break down on Monday for Gridiron Football. We'll have another Ballin the Boot show on Monday to talk about me and you about the playoff brackets when they are released. But what we're going to do now, Spencer, we might as well, since we're on the topic, I've had a couple coaches come on the show tonight. Coach Adrian Burnette from Franklin Parish, he came on the show tonight to talk about their big win over Tioga tonight. I'm trying to see who else. Coach Robert Valdez came on tonight, earlier tonight to talk about the win over John Curtis. What a win for the Purple Knights to get a win like that. Going to the playoffs with that momentum. Coach Kent Gable, Westminster Christian over in Lafayette. You're really good. I mean Westminster Christian, your team named Westminster Christian this year because they beat Vermilion Catholic tonight to go 6-4 and punch a spot in the playoffs. So a lot going on, Spencer. And we're going to try to pull up. Let's see if we try to pull up the at least kind of like I know Hayden Lazard is kind of working on the rankings.
I've got it up on my computer right now looking at it. And I can see about 60 other people are looking at it. But you kind of mentioned some of the guests you had on. We'll start with Adrian Burnette. I mean, that dude right there, he's a high quality coach and he's a high quality dude. Every time I get the chance to talk to him, I make sure I listen with all both my ears and everything I've gotten in. But I do that little 2-minute spiel on right before the games this week. This week I tried to actually post it before I went to the middle of nowhere because that burned me last week. But I went through it and I have it still right here. I write out every single thing that I want to talk about in it, and I never get through the whole list. It's 2 minutes. I'm not Chris Berman. I can't get to the whole lead.
You get the 2 minute fastest 2 minutes.
I wrote it all out, and then I went through it and I recorded it, and I thought it sounded good. I uploaded it. And as soon as
I were a pretty good bit in 2 minutes. I gotta admit.
Yeah. We try to cover at least a little bit of everything, but I left out Franklin Parish Tioga completely, and I had to put in a little note at the bottom that just said, "Hey, look, I'm watching this game," and I turned on the live stream in the second quarter when we were at halftime, and I was like, "All right, well, it's like 49-7 or 42-7." I was like, "They're handling business there," and that's a sign of that you want to see heading into the playoffs. Tioga's having a really, really good year. Kind of the same thing as South Blackman. Everything that they want to accomplish is still ahead of them. It's kind of a lot for these teams that are now in the playoffs, holding those high seeds that might have maybe fallen short in district. And, but hey, look, if you're in the playoffs, a lot of people just say record reset, 0-0. Coach Valdez at St. Augustine, that's another guy that I've got a lot of respect for, and what he's done over there. The Purple Knights has been really fun to watch. You know, a lot of people are going to start talking about that Division I select bracket. Are we going to see the rematch in the Dome? It looks like Turlings, as of now, based on what you have pulled up, is going to hold that second spot.
Yep.
And I can't leave out, you know, Westminster Christian Lafayette's coach. You know, my cousins go to that school.
Okay.
You know, my cousin actually plays baseball for coach, and you know, I got to meet him at the state golf tournament this past year, and I'm excited to see what he can do with that program. You know, they were banged up when they played Opelousas earlier this year, but big win, you know, big statement win over the defending champs in that division, and excited to see what they can do come playoff time. But these brackets, man.
Oh yeah, man! I'm waiting for Sunday, and obviously you and I will you know, we'll break it down even more. I'll kind of look over it on Sunday, kind of, you know, but Monday we'll definitely go into it and really break it down. The matchups, probably the teams we have as our favorites, maybe some sleepers, you know, that can make some runs in the Dome. But let's kind of look at the rankings. It's kind of like you know, this isn't going to be exactly the entire rankings, and this is exactly going to be what it looks like on Sunday, but it kind of gives you an idea, a general idea of what it's going to look like. I know Hayden's done a great job putting these up. But yeah, let's see what we have here. I mean, end the card. This is Division I select. What stands out most about this, Spencer? You have end the card, Turlings, both deservingly undefeated. You know, 1 and 2 makes a lot of sense. St. Augustine at number 3 with their one loss going against end the card. Catholic at 8 and 2. Ash lost to Neville tonight. They are 8 and 2. So yeah, a couple teams lost tonight in that 5 through 7. You know, Ash lost tonight, Tioga, John Curtis. But what sticks out most when we talk about Division I select as of right now?
You know, whenever we have something like this where I'm like, all right, look, you got to take it all with a grain of salt. Look, I got a lot of respect for Hayden. I think he's pretty dang close to what could be correct on this. And so, you know, the first thing that pops out to me is I start immediately jumping to, all right, what's the quarterfinal games going to look like? Let's look at 1 through 8. And then you realize St. Thomas More is a 10 seed right now. And in the second round of the playoffs, John Curtis Christian is a 7 seed. Ooh. So you're telling me we get to see a John Curtis St. Thomas More second round playoff game if both of those teams were to win their first round game? That would be incredible to see.
That'd be great.
And so I kind of did the same thing with all the divisions, you know, starting the quarterfinals. But then you got to look at what it takes to get to the quarterfinals, because getting to the quarterfinals is nowhere near as easy as it sounds like off the top of the head. You know, Bonneville's playing really good football right now. They are. They just beat, I believe, Riverdale. It would be tonight, and you know, they've got a fun matchup with Acadiana, would it be Acadiana right now? Yeah, it would be Acadiana. Which
I believe so.
I got to make sure I get it would be Acadiana, who's also playing really good football, you know. And that's the thing, you know, you sit here and you kind of try to figure out, you know, who's doing what right now. And, you know, Evangel at 8 going to Carr and, you know, the quarterfinals, you know, John Johnson against Pop Houston. Obviously, Carr got a lot more than just John Johnson, but I'm taking the over too in that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, too, you know, and just thinking a little bit about tonight, too, you know, the score that stood up to me the most tonight, I think Madison and Beekman Charter tonight.
Yeah, the
score was like 80-58.
Yeah, saw that.
And I think basketball season has started a little early.
I think so, too. I've slipped in a basketball score in there, but I saw it because I saw that, too. I was like, 86 points. That game must have ended like at – it wasn't just finished. Golly, 86. I can't imagine keeping up with that, but pretty crazy.
I imagine the scoreboard person, they might have had to sub them out at halftime. He might have said, look, man, the fingers are gone. But, you know, going back a little bit to the brackets, you know, those quarterfinal matchups can be really fun, but with how deep Division I and Division, select and non-select in Division I is, like, if we look at the non-select brackets, I was talking with Johnny Lombardi, the guy who does the video over at Denham Springs, and he was excited. He's like, man, we got the 4 seed. We got a bye, but man, we're one of the hottest teams in the state right now. I feel like, and I was like, yeah, man, in the second round, you guys get the great pleasure of playing against Zachary, who obviously hasn't been playing their best ball, but if they can clean those things up, they're a really dangerous team in the playoffs. And I mean, I told him I legitimately think about 15 teams in this Division I bracket, and non-select can win it all.
Yeah,
it's just about who's playing the best ball at the best time, and who can put some stuff together and put together a run. Because you go as far down as Ouachita Parish. Ouachita Parish, one of the best 6-4 teams in the state. They were in all 4 of those losses. And then you got to look at who they would play in the second round. They would play Destrehan in the second round right now. And I'm like, I'm going to that game. And then you think about, Blue Springs, Zachary's a really good game too. And then you start jumping around, and then everything, your head gets spinning, and you're just like, man, hang on, let me just wait till the brackets actually come out. But it's good to fun. It's kind of fun to look at all these and see the long list of things that could possibly happen. And you're right. It's like Christmas Eve. When I consider the semifinals Christmas Eve. But it's like it feels like December. There we go.
Yeah, early December. You kind of getting the weather's starting to cool, and like the holidays, you start putting your Christmas trees up and all. It kind of feels like that when we talk about the releasing the playoff brackets. But division. You mentioned Spencer, Division I non-select. I mean, I think it's just wide open. I don't think there's like a dominant team there in Division I. There's a lot of really good teams. You talked about Destrehan's been playing their really best football right now. Denham Springs, like you mentioned, what they did against Sam tonight. They've been on a roll. And number 4, you talk about Parkway is quietly 9-1. Nobody's really talking about Parkway this year. But they're just looking at all the way down. 11-12. Zachary, Ouachita Parish, Thibodaux. That's going to be I expect some upsets here in Division I non-select.
You talk about upsets. I can see a few in the first round that could go either way. I just mentioned Ouachita Parish probably the best 6-4 team, but Sam 7-3, and they right now looks like those two would be matched up in the first
19.
round. And telling you if you're the scoreboard operator for that game, get ready, man. Your fingers are going to be might be tired by the end of it. And the greatest thing is we we've talked so much about just these 2 brackets already, and the brackets aren't even out yet, and that's just Division I. You go back and you start scrolling down, look at all the other ones, and you just put your head in your hands and you just go, man, we are blessed here in Louisiana to have some good football teams.
Yeah, kind of looking we're not going to go dive deep really into all of them or anything, but we're just kind of a sneak peek, maybe in the top 9 or 10. But you look at Division 3 here, or Division 2 non-select. You have North DeSoto and Iowa, both 10-0 on the season. North DeSoto, one of the most impressive wins of the season against West Monroe earlier this year. Belle Chase is 9-1, having a great season this year. Franklin Parish, I think they're my team. Like right now, talking to Coach Burnette, like the thing is they're just getting healthy. And right now they're starting to play their style of football, what they want to play, getting all their guys healthy. They had to play a lot of their star players both ways. We talk about Nazarian and Trey Martin, guys like that, both ways. And now I get some of those guys healthy. They can start playing them just on offense. Franklinton, at number 8, when we talk about them being the number 1 seed last year and maybe kind of flying under the radar a little bit, but hey, they got an experienced quarterback in Jacob Crane. They can make some noise. Letcher got a big win tonight, 2 over South Lafourche. And that's going to be interesting, especially when I look with those top 10 teams, with Plaquemine, Franklin Parish, Franklinton, Jennings, Iowa, North DeSoto, Belle Chase, Lakeshore, some of those teams right there.
Oh yeah, there's some fun, little district matchups as well. Bruley's sitting at 6 right now, and Westfell's sitting at 11. That would be a rematch of district. You mentioned Franklin Parish.
Yeah.
They were sitting at 8, I think, coming into tonight, and that would have set up a North DeSoto Franklin Parish quarterfinal, which I think, you would have. I would have booked me a first-class ticket to that one. But now in a second-round game, you've got Franklin Parish Letcher right now lined up. That would even be exciting too.
That'll be a heck of a matchup.
That's the thing, Jake. We start looking at these matchups, and like I said, I'm hoping Hayden's really close on something. That's why I really hope Hayden's correct on all.
Hayden, you better get this one right.
I want this to be right, because if we get the brackets on Monday, and we get some of these matchups in, and I'm just like, I don't see what I thought I saw. I'm just excited, because it's like it's here, and we talk a lot about the playoff teams here, Jace, but I want to give a special shout out to some of the teams that might not have made playoffs, but were fighting tooth and nail. Division I, I think Chalmette was barely out of it. Needed a win tonight, fell short.
29th.
There's a lot of teams tonight that probably fell short of making the playoffs. But all those teams who might not have made the playoffs, just it sucks. It's probably like the worst feeling in the world to know that your season's over, but celebrate that it happened. Because you get to play the fun game of football here in Louisiana. You get to create some great memories that I'm sure will last a lifetime. I know when I played high school sports, the memories last forever.
Yeah, for sure. Well said, Spencer. I know it was really tough, especially you have a winning record. You're Chalmette, you go 6-4, and that's not good enough for you to make it, to get in, have a chance. That is really tough for Chalmette. But I know they're going to bounce back. I know Coach Tucker's a great coach, and they're going to bounce back next year and get back at it. But yeah, Broadmoor just missing the cut with Coach Sarah. I mean, they're 3-7. But yeah, just kind of looking as well, going to the select Division II bracket, just kind of, just going through these pretty quickly. We talk about Division II select. I've called the U-High Mass and Prep game, and how that game was 14-6, and it wasn't a boring game. I mean, you only had one offensive touchdown in the game, but it was pretty exciting to the wire, and potentially see that in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
rematch. That'll be really great to see those teams, those district rivals, play against each other. Vanderbilt Catholic lost tonight. I know that was kind of a noticeable score as well to E.D. White, and right now Vanderbilt Catholic is ahead of E.D. White because of the record, but their undefeated season fell short. Tonight, Lake Charles Prep having a great season. How about Loyola with Bryce Restovich, and they squeaked out Northwood Shreveport tonight to go 9-1, and St. Charles Catholic shut out Shaw 24-0 tonight. So interesting once again in Division II.
Yeah, it's another great division, another matchups. This one I'm gonna stick to the quarterfinals. But yeah, you mentioned University Lab against Madison Prep, U-High. They got that win in the regular season, but it's tough to beat a team twice in a year. St. Charles against E.D. White, man, that one's got fun circled around it, and obviously a lot of the quarterfinal games are a lot of fun.
Right.
But sometimes you look at the proximity of where the schools are at, maybe a little bit of history in there between these two programs. If you go back, it's right there, but a lot of these are really close. And that's just exciting. Loyola's kind of like the only North Louisiana. They're holding the North Louisiana flag in the division. And they're holding it right there. And they're like, look, we're here. And, right now, Shaw, that's a long trip up there. It's a real long trip.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
It certainly does.
Yeah, home field advantage is going to really matter when it comes to that. But we'll dive deeper into it on Monday. Just kind of looking at some of the top teams to look at. Division III select. Wow. What do you have to say about that, man? I mean, oh my goodness.
This division is insane. You think about the fact that like Amite played a 14-point game tonight with Sumner, and they're 3-10. Like that's where they're set up right now. But like you can go all the way down. I think Episcopal's playing a lot better right now.
Right. They're at 15. Ooh, okay.
I mean, LCA right is probably the head and shoulders team, as most people would assume. Their power rating is almost 1.5 points higher than anyone else's. But Sumner going 10-0 this year, that's something that, is something to write home about. I might have to go out to Sumner practice sometime next week and see how they're spending their bye week, because they're going to go take a fun bye week. And you see Newman at 5 there. Coach was around the right area. Before tonight, I think they were sitting at 6. Coach thought they'd be around the 4 area, but they're in there. So that does set up a fun second round matchup against Country Day, district rival.
That'll be a fun one. Yeah.
Tough to beat a team twice in a year, but they're playing good ball right now, so it'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, you had Bunky out there at 9-1. Only lost to Gina this year. They're still looking really strong. Kathy Beer, they won the whole thing last year, and they're out there quietly at number 9 right now. I tell you what will be fun to watch, and it happened in the playoffs last year, and LCA actually had their chances to win that game, but LCA and Dunham, if those two teams can square off, potentially that could be maybe a matchup in the Superdome, depending on how the brackets lay out. But going to be a really great matchup, whatever they could face each other, because I have a good feeling they may.
We need Hayden's math to be really far off for them to meet up in the Superdome, but even a semifinal match at Knight Field would be really fun to watch. Maybe we're on course for an LCA Notre Dame rematch in the Dome, especially them being 1 and 2. I think Sumner's going to have something to say about that, and
Calvary in there at 6.
Calvary's in there too. Once again, you kind of talk about, you got to pick out the North Louisiana when you see them. Calvary's once again kind of up there holding that flag. It's kind of helped them too, I imagine, over the last couple of years as well, that some of these teams got to come travel up to them come quarterfinal, semifinal time. This time it'll kind of be roles reversed. Quarterfinals, they'd have to travel to Sumner. You win that, then you got to travel to Notre Dame. That rule of, hey, if you're the lower seed and you pull the upset, you get to host in the next round, that don't exist no more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing there, for sure. Because it's always been different with who's hosting the playoff game? Is it the top? I always thought, if you deserve the higher seed, you should, if you're number 1 seed, the road to the Dome goes for you. You should have home field, and it should be that way if you're the higher seed.
It can be fun though if the 16-17 matchup, the 17 pulls the upset. Hey, we're hosting the number 1 team at home, and this year, just imagine if it was just looking at this. Well, I guess it would be I was gonna say, well, imagine the 17 seed Division I Select hosting Carr, and then I was like, oh, it's just Jesuit.
Yeah,
they've already played this year. It's not something to write home about. But I like the way it is. And you have teams that like Cecilia last year who rode dogs the whole year and won a state championship doing so.
Yeah, well, that's definitely a look at Division III Select. I know that's always been a really good one, a really tough one. If you come out of that as a state champion, you're really deserving of it. Division III non-select, just kind of looking at maybe the top 10 teams here. I kind of a snippet before we go into it on Monday. But Gina, 9-1, looking like that can be the number 1 seed. Impressive win over Bunky this year as well. 1 loss on the season. Sterlington's defending state. You got the 2 teams that played in the state championship at number 2 and number 3. Sterlington and St. James. Kinder and ERAF having great seasons, going undefeated.
Oh, yeah.
2 dynamic quarterbacks, both of them have. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be interesting to look at division.
Kinder actually jumped ERAF going in. They jumped them tonight. So
wow,
ERAF doesn't get the bye, which I think, talking to them a little bit, they might not, some teams, they don't want that bye. They want to keep playing. They don't want to have a week off. And, I will say, I know you said don't talk about anyone past 10, but Union Parish at 12, 5v12 Union coming out of
Union
ERAF.
Parish.
That would be fun to watch. Can the Farmers put it together? It just seems like they're always in there coming into the late season. But Sterlington, St. James is obviously interesting. Those are the 2 teams to watch in this division. Obviously, Gina's having good years. Kinder, ERAF, they're all having good years. Oak Grove just got that win over OCS.
Yeah,
that puts them right back into the conversation. But I think a lot will be said about it, but St. James did go to Sterlington in 2023 and beat them there. And I remember in the post-game press conference, Sterlington said that fueled our fire a lot for this year and winning the state championship. So sometimes home field advantage is good. Sometimes home field advantage does not matter until the year after you have lost there.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, this was a game when I was even talking to Grant, and when Grant was covering over here before he had to go to North Carolina, right, and cover the Tar Heels. But he was saying that you can potentially see Sterlington and St. James playing each other in the Dome next couple of years. And I mean, right now they're at number 2 and number 3, Kinder, ERAF. See how they fare. Oak Grove, you just talked about a big win on Thursday night against Washita Christian. And they're definitely a team not to really overlook. Church Point, I know y'all have had them on the LHSAA Network this year. So, I mean.
Had a classic against Northwest.
Yeah, Northwest. I mean, you got Jerrison Reese over at Church Point, and you got Kevon Johnson over there in Northwest. So, a lot of exciting players to watch out there in that game. But that should be interesting.
How about Mansfield at 8-2?
Yeah, I know that was a little bit of a surprise. Mansfield at 8-2.
Well, I know they certainly put themselves on the map week 1. I got to talk with Coach Barbary up there at Mansfield. He's doing a great job this year. If you remember correctly, they were down like 35-0 against Minden.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they came back
and won. Yeah,
it was some ridiculous score, and they came back and won. And they're 8-2 and holding that 8 seed in the playoffs, and if it holds there, I'm sure they'll be overjoyed with it. Obviously, they would have liked it if Floraville, it was down 14-0 to West St.
Yeah, they came back and won tonight. Yeah.
Yep, and they came back and won 15-14. So, man, there's so much that happens because I imagine at one point Mansfield was 7 and Floraville was 8-9, and you jumble it all up and you throw it out there. That's the playoff bracket.
Yeah, I'm gonna just let Hayden and all the guys that do this figure it out, and then just give me the playoff brackets and let's roll with it. Now that's kind of how I am. Just give me the playoff brackets, we'll roll with it on Sunday.
It's fun to look at, who's the projected seeds right now, and then you get to think in the later parts of the season. We'll think come May, like if these are off a little bit, we can just sit there and be like, man, imagine if we would have gotten that, ERAF Union Parish game, and maybe one of them gets moved around and it doesn't happen, and then we're thinking in May, man, imagine if we had that game. That would have been a really, really cool game.
Absolutely. Let's look at Division 4, and a little bit of a shakeup here too, Spencer. I'm not sure you saw it tonight, but North Iberville did lose tonight, so they lost to Ascension Christian 25-24. I thought that was one of the more shocking scores I saw tonight for North Iberville to lose that game in Week 10. So kind of interesting to see. We talk about teams playing at their best at the right time, but that's kind of disappointing for a team that started off so strong. But I think that's 2 losses in the last three games for them. Yeah,
and last year I think they might have lost their second round game, I think maybe against General Trask. So. Yeah. So hoping that, obviously every team can go into the playoffs at a really good record. Faraday at 10 down there in Division 4.
Faraday's a sleeper. I'll tell you what.
They're going to be a sleeper. And they got to play an Eastville team that at the start of the year beat Kentwood.
Mm-hmm.
One big thing though is, I talk about in Division 4 the minefield. There's a lot of, well, at least in non-select, there's a lot of North Louisiana teams in there. You want to play avoid the minefield, basically.
Sure.
By South Plaquemine losing tonight, they've dropped down to 3, and Mangum has jumped them to 2, which takes the mines and shuffles them down a little bit. So kind of look at who they would end up playing. Right now, it looks like South Plaque would match up against North Iberville in the quarterfinals, based on that. So that's not as big of a minefield as, in the semifinals last year. Mangum had to come down to South Plaquemine, which was a long, long drive.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of like a little thing. They got a little fortress down there in Bureau/Empire. I like referring to it as the minefield, though. You got to avoid it as best you can if you're one of the teams up north.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned how much that made a difference for South Plaquemine and for them to go South Plaquemine to go to the Dome last year and to win that game against Haynesville. And Haynesville, a little bit of a chip on their shoulder too, because they've been to Dome the last couple of years and haven't finished the deal. So that they're more motivated than ever to finish the deal after coming up short the last couple of years.
Is it ridiculous to say that we're not talking about Haynesville enough? I mean,
yeah.
I'll be honest. We made it through 10 weeks of the season. I haven't heard many people talking about them.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of talk about Mangum. Maybe it's just I'm more tuned into the Monroe stuff than I am everywhere else. But since when at Bayou Jam, that was all I heard about was Mangum's got a really good squad this year, and I think they've been living up to that. Obviously, a couple of losses that they probably wanted back, but like we mentioned earlier, and I'm going to mention it probably again on Monday, a lot of these teams, everything that they want to accomplish is right in front of them.
Yeah.
They can see it. The prize is right down there in New Orleans in the Superdome waiting on them. They just got to go win it and get it. But Haynesville, no one's really talked about them.
Yeah.
I think they're probably taking that as hey, look, we're ready. This is everyone's kind of at the start of the year said this is their year to try to go and do it again. And they've gone 10-0 again, and they're right there in that conversation at the top.
Yeah, and Generette, 9-1 this year. And you've seen them play this year.
Yeah. They're battling injuries a little bit. Star running backs out for the year. Had some other guys beat up when I saw them play against West St. Mary. Just big thing for them is just staying healthy and playing their best ball at the right time. Their one loss on the year is to Covenant Christian, who by no means is and I think it was like a overtime game.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Which no means is a bad program at all, and not one that you go, man, how did we lose to that? That's one that you say, hey, look, we played a heck of a ball game against a team right around us, and we're playing some good football come time for when we need to be playing good football, right?
Right. That's kind of the point. I talked to a lot of the coaches. They want to play their best football right at the right time and get hot at the right time. And finally, we'll take a little bit of a look here. And I mean, I get this from a lot of coaches, and I totally agree. But there might not be, and that's including Division I, there might not be a deeper playoff bracket than Division IV Select. I mean, in terms of if you told me, Spencer, 12 different possible teams could win a state championship, I'd probably say it's not that out of realm of a possibility that they can't. I mean, you talk about Westminster. We both saw them play on Thursday. I saw Riverside Academy play in the Jamboree against Episcopal. They are legit, and they're really great offensively. Hamilton Christian, the Javon Vital show there. Catholic Point Capilla, Ascension Catholic, Ascension Episcopal, Ouachita Christian. You kind of go down the list.
Down to about 11 or 12 right
11 or 12.
And you can legitimately put out a case for each of these teams on how they could win it. I was talking with Coach Dizer over at St. Martin's Episcopal earlier this year, and he said, who's going to be up there in our division this year? And I said, I think it's going to be a usual suspects kind of year. I think Sutherland and Kentwood are going to be, kind of 1 and 2. He told me, he said, I think Riverside's going to have a really, really good year this year. I was like, well, they lost Lasty, which is going to hurt a good bit, but sure enough, they're sitting right up there at the end of the year, 8-1, and I've got a shoe in my mouth now, and I look like an idiot because Sutherland and Kentwood are down there at 10 and 11. But you're right, this division is pretty deep. You start thinking about the matchups, Jason. I'm telling you, man, a quarterfinal, Riverside and Ouachita Christian at Riverside, man.
Take your pick, quarterfinals.
Take your pick of the quarterfinals. Man. These quarterfinals are really, really good. That's not even including the fact that Ouachita Christian will host Southern Lab in round 2 right now as things stand. Ascension Episcopal, who's having a really good year at 9-1, they would host Kentwood. In round 2, there's just I get so excited talking about it. I know we're going to talk a lot more about it on Monday, but you're right. This division's really deep. It's going to be a bloodbath, and whoever comes out on top is going to be able to say, "Hey, look, we went through the gauntlet and we ended up on top." And it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to have my little whiteboard out on Monday and. Try to take down as many notes as I can coming into that your show on Monday prepared.
Yeah,
because we're gonna need it probably with how many good brackets there are.
Yeah, I mean it's really wide open. I mean, I know we won't be here until we got about 13 more minutes. We'll be here talk a little bit more until 1:00. I know we've had some comments, people pouring scores, and we got a Chase here with a fire emoji. I know we got a couple people commenting. I believe this is Mr. Earl Landry. I mean, he talked about ERAF going 10-0 with a comment tonight. So I believe I think that's Jack's. I think that might be Jack's dad. But 40-12 now, 10-0 rolling. Lewis Wallace. He talked about he's actually his son Ian Wallace. He's a starting center at Loyola College Prep, and he talked about what a great game they won tonight, 28-27 over Northwood of Shreveport. So we got a couple comments here. But yeah, I mean, just as we're kind of going towards the end of the regular season, looking at the playoffs, like I'm kind of looking here and just overall, I mean, Division I select, I mean, End the Car. I know we'll kind of break that one down, but End the Car looks really great. I'm kind of interested to see who is going to be that team that in that bracket that can contend with Carr. Just kind of like going overall storylines, about the playoffs in the next couple of minutes. But who is going to be that team that can really compete with Carr? Is it Catholic? Is it Turlings? Being 10-0. Can it be somebody from their own Catholic league again, giving another shot at them, like a St. Augustine or a John Curtis? So it's going to be interesting with that bracket to kind of follow. And then
you kind of mentioned who's the team that can maybe take it to Carr. Obviously I think Carr's the most complete team in the state. And a lot of people have said, well, what's the formula for beating Carr? And I tell people there's no formula for beating Carr. You've got to catch them on a bad night where nothing's going right for them. And you've got to play your best game all year. Now, that being said, I think that some of the Catholic League foes can cause some problems for Carr. We talked about John Curtis at one point. There was a lot of people that circled that game and said, hey, look, if Curtis can control the clock and force a few turnovers and stay clean, then they can win that game. We kind of saw that in the second half a little bit, but they dug themselves too much of a hole at the start and kind of cost them. We saw with Rummel last night. They went out to a 14-0 lead, was kind of keeping everything together, and then the wheels fell off the boat and kind of got ugly there. But they're the most complete team in the state by far. If you put Carr against pretty much anyone in the state, 9 times out of 10, Carr's going to win the game. But there is that one. I think in 2023 when in the semifinals when Acadiana beat them, I don't think a lot of people expected that Carr team to lose, and that was that Carr team was still really good. I mean, John was in his I believe his first or second year as a starter. And obviously everything that team accomplished last year was pretty much made up of almost everything from 2023. So they're going to be the team to beat. There's a lot of brackets that it's going to look that way. You look at LCA in Division III, which, by the way, there is technically still 2 games tomorrow, Jay. So there could be some mix-ups. And, Newman, it is the Newman Country Day sort of district. I believe it's Walter Cohen, who currently sits. I believe it's Walter Cohen and Reed are playing each other tomorrow.
And that's 24-25.
You might look at the records and say, "Hey, look, this isn't a good game." But then you take another look and you say, let's verify here. What games we got tomorrow?
That's a playoff game still.
We have East Jefferson against Higgins, and then Sarah T. Reed against Walter L. Cohen.
How about that?
How about that indeed? That is 24-25 for a playoff spot. And now let's see. What else? Where's East Jefferson?
It's kind of like the March Madness, first 4?
Yeah, the first 4, the little play
your way in. So kind of get that action there.
I wonder if East Jeff or Higgins has where they would be at.
Let's see.
Trying to find. Okay, Higgins is in Division I, and East Jeff.
31-36.
It's going to be a little bit tougher to make the jump. But look, if you're in the mindset of I want to watch some football on a Saturday and you don't want to have to sit through and watch college football, go catch yourself Sarah T. Reed and Walter Cohen. I don't know where it's at, but I imagine it's in one of the stadiums down there.
I'm sure so.
But hey, just tell you what, man. Maybe. I think I'm a little busy tomorrow, so I don't think I'd be able to go down there and get that. But I would go down there if I had the free time.
Yeah, you're all over the place because you're not just covering football. You said volleyball state championships are coming up cross country. So Spencer does a little bit of everything, man. And let's kind of talk about. I'm trying to see maybe one or two more storylines as we promote the LHSAA Network. What's coming up for y'all? But just overall, Division One. My one storyline here is. I think there's just a lot of teams that can. I think it's wide open. I don't think it's like Ruston's still really good, obviously, but I don't think it's the dominant Ruston teams we've seen the last couple of years. I still in Central, not the same. They're still good, but not the same Central team we saw last year. And I think it's going to be wide open in Division One, non-select.
And not just that, but when Central goes on the road to North Louisiana, they're normally pretty successful.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
At least in the past couple of years, and right now it looked like if they could beat Denham in that 5-4 matchup, they would travel to Ruston, and obviously there's a lot of history with last year's game and how that went. I'm sure those kids on Ruston who were out there playing would probably feel an extra fire under their butts.
No, remember that game. I tell you, it's hard to forget about that game.
The locker or the board material is there.
Absolutely. Really quickly, Division Two. North DeSoto. I think it would be like a storybook ending, right? If for Luke Delafield, to start your high school career, lead North DeSoto to a state championship appearance, and come up short against Letcher, and have a chance now to end it as number one seed, get back to them, maybe bookend your career with a state championship. But you're going to have some tough battles: Iowa, Bell Chase, Plaquemine, Franklin Parish, Franklinton, Jennings. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But North DeSoto trying to hold off some of those guys. It's going to be interesting to see.
Oh yeah, that'll be really fun to watch. Kind of them continue to try to navigate that perfect 10-0 record, trying to go 15-0 now.
Mm-hmm. And then real quickly, the storyline for Division II Select, just U-High. I think it's really U-High here, especially what happened last year, kind of like a revenge tour and find their way back in the playoffs with Lamar Brown. Number one player in the country by a lot of recruiting outlets, and giving that last push to the Dome. And I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on the Cubs. Come talk about this bracket.
I know they're the number one seed now, Jace, but St. Charles and U-High, they have had some battles.
Oh, yeah.
In the semifinals in the last year. Not last year, but even in 23, there was a battle down there. They play each other preseason every year. That's going to be fun to see, especially if it ends up that they meet in the semifinals again. And right now, for me, it's one of those two.
Yeah.
In that
St. Charles has gotten the better of them,
They have. And that's normally been the fuel that kind of helped them kind of take that final step and get the state championship. Because they beat U-High in the semifinals. They were a really good team. We just beat U-High. Let's go do it again. And then they did it again.
Real briefly, Division III Select. I think the main thing is, basically, it's going to be really tough. Division III, LCA are looking really strong this year. What can Jules Sumner do? What's their follow-up to last year? What can Dunham do with Elijah Haven? Talk about star power in this bracket as well. Wherever they play, if you get a Braylon Walker versus Elijah Haven playoff matchup, it'll be really fun to watch.
Yeah, like you mentioned, LCA and Dunham, that's the two teams that I have circled. I'm going to keep my eye on Jules Sumner.
Yeah.
You can never count out old Lee Cook and Notre Dame, especially at the 2 seed this year. They're going to do some damage come playoff time.
Yeah, for sure. And then one storyline to look at, Division III non-select. Gina's number one. But to me, I got my eyes on, and we'll talk about more on Monday, but how do teams like Sterlington, St. James, kind of more experienced teams that made deep playoff runs compare with kind of new up and coming teams making some noise this year, like Cap, like Kinder and ERAF. I think that's what I'm kind of watching.
Division III, it's all about the big three in here. I think Gina, Sterlington, and St. James, those are the guys to watch. But like you said, keep your eyes on Kinder and ERAF. 10-0 seasons, that's not easy to do. And don't forget about Oak Grove.
Oh, yeah. Can't leave Oak Grove out of it either. Division IV non-select. I mean, I think it's like the North Louisiana teams you talked about, right? Haynesville, Mangum, Logansport. I mean, even Faraday, Jonesboro Hodge. I think the biggest thing here to keep an eye on, is it going to be all the North Louisiana teams, or can South Plaquemines, Jeanerette, North Iberville, any of these teams will make a run at it? Is kind of what my thing I'm looking at there.
Any of those teams play spoilers for the North Louisiana Classic down in New Orleans. I think it's going to be tough, but that's why they play the games, right? You never know. That's why we play the 8v24 and 8v28, whatever it is now, the 5v28, whatever it is. That's why we play those games.
And then finally, a Division IV select is basically who you're picking. I mean, we're going to go more about it on Monday, but like you said, you can probably say one team and it make a whole lot of sense. And I will say another team, I'd say that could win it. It'll probably make a whole lot of sense as well. But it's just what team is going to break through is basically the main thing to look at, because there can be many teams that can do that.
Yep. Who's going to catch fire at the right time, and who's going to make their run stand out above the rest?
Absolutely, Spencer. Well, we're wrapping this thing up. We'll talk more about it on Monday, obviously, on our Ball in the Boot Road to the Dome show. But yeah, just your time here, Spencer. Talk about the LHSAA Network and anything going on with the LHSAA Network that's coming up for y'all guys.
Oh, man, Jason, it's going to be a busy couple of weeks here on the LHSAA Network. First off, for anyone who wants to catch some highlights from tonight that might have missed it, our show, Friday Night in the Boot, Steve Schneider, Troy LaBeouf did a great job running that show. It'll air tomorrow around 11 a.m. noon. It'll be available on demand as well. It's available on demand on YouTube right now, LHSAA Sports YouTube channel. I encourage everyone watching to go download the LHSAA Network TV app. It's 24/7 Louisiana high school sports, and it's a great thing. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I do a Sunday show at 6:30 p.m. called Game Changers. We're doing a volleyball special for this Sunday, and Steve does Around the Boot, where he meets with media members across the state. Next Saturday is, oh boy, it's the one. It's the Volleyball State Championships, and the Cajun Dome will be live on the network almost all day. Tune into some great volleyball matchups. And between your college football, turn on the LHSAA Network, watch a little volleyball.
There you go.
This year, what's new for us in the playoffs of football, we're actually doing a Friday night football game in the playoffs on the LHSAA Network TV app. It won't be on YouTube in the playoffs, but it will be on the TV app. We encourage everyone to tune in. We'll have some very, very fun ones. Week one will probably be in the Lafayette area somewhere, with the Cajun Dome being the next day. We want to make sure we keep our crew close, but we'll keep a hush mouth on where we're exactly going, because I don't even know myself yet. Obviously, we have volleyball, and then we do a little bit of a break, aka the Sunday is the break, and then Monday we do cross country, which, oh boy, Pete Boudreaux, the legendary Catholic high coach, will be on the sidelines for us this year doing some interviews as well. That'll be all day coverage, 8 a.m. till about 4 or 5 p.m. I'll be on the call for that one, helping out a little bit with Jeff Palermo, Garrett Walver, whoever's going to show up in the booth, and we're going to call out some names for cross country. And then from there, we've got football. Football will be on the LHSAA Network as well. The state championships, obviously all the rounds of the playoffs. And then from there, we'll take a little break. We'll have the Warwick Dunn Award, which is obviously one of the prestigious Best Player in the States awards that we kind of host every year. We posted our watch list a couple of weeks ago, and I encourage everyone who's watching, if you think you know someone that we forgot, go leave a comment on our Facebook. There's a lot of comments on there right now, but let me know if I forgot anyone. But yeah, we'll have a lot of great things as well into the next year, but just excited about where we're going with the network, and excited to keep bringing everyone great live playoff games, live regular season games. Friday Night in the Booth, really like one of the fun shows that you get to see highlights from across the state, and just waiting to keep doing what we're doing, and obviously continue to come on great shows like this. What you do with Gridiron is fun to watch, and I love seeing everything that you guys do.
Absolutely, same here. I go watch Friday nights in the boot as well. Kind of see the video highlights, see how everybody's kind of doing. It's a great show to tune in. So make sure you download the LHSAA app. Obviously, Spencer, I don't think there's anybody working harder than Spencer is, especially all the sports that he's juggling right now. But Spencer, you're doing an awesome job.
Appreciative of the comment, Jace.
Yeah, for sure, buddy. And looking forward to catching up on Monday, and we will go down and break down these playoff matchups and we'll talk about it weekly as we begin the road to the Dome, man.
Yep, I'm excited for it, man. It's here. It's time. It's the chase for the Dome. We've got the chase with Jace, but we've also got the chase for the Dome.
Chase with Jace from the road to the Dome. I like that, Spencer. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't work too hard.
Try not to.
All right, Spencer, have yourself a good night, man. Spencer Verret and the LHSAA Network. Absolutely, man. So we're going to wrap up the show tonight. Appreciate Spencer for spending the last hour of the show with us. Like I mentioned, we'll have a show on Monday. Myself and Spencer will break down all the LHSAA brackets they'll be released on Sunday, so you can go and check out all those brackets. They'll be released on Sunday. But on Monday, we'll go break down, give a thorough breakdown of these brackets, and we'll talk about our championship picks. We'll talk about maybe sleepers for each bracket, potential games to watch out for, upset, stuff like that. So we'll break down the playoff brackets as we go through them, but it should be a fun show to talk about on Monday. Appreciate everybody. Thank y'all so much. We had a lot of viewers watching the show tonight. Can't thank y'all enough, but hey, it's one thing. It's one part of me that's sad that the regular season is over. That is one part of it that I'm pretty upset about. But hey, I get to say, hey, it's playoff football. It's winter go home coming up. The playoff brackets are going to be released this weekend, so I'm going to be really excited about it. So thank you to everybody that's tuned in, that's a comment, that's been a part of the show. I want to thank our coaches for coming in tonight. We've had a lot of great coaches commenting and joining us on the show. We'll give a shout out to Coach Robert Valdez for joining us tonight from St. Augustine High School. They get a win over John Curtis tonight. We had Adrian Burnette over at Franklin Parish. They got a big win over Tioga tonight. Appreciate Coach Burnette. Coach Gable over at Westminster Christian in Lafayette. They got themselves a win. Roman Clark, a correspondent, talking about he went to the Catholic Zachary game on Thursday, and then obviously Spencer breaking down all the madness here. Week 10 high school football, taking an early look at what those rankings look like. But guys, thank y'all so much, and once again, I want to give a shout out to Tommy's Windows, or a premier sponsor here at Ballin the Boot. Appreciate Tommy Kissinger and all he does, really for the Baton Rouge area. And especially if you need to get anything replaced, if you get your doors, your sidings, windows, might as well go to the best of the business. Might as well go to Tommy and his crew. They are award winning. They win awards literally every single year for what they do, for their work. So make sure to call them and make sure to tell them that Jace gave a recommendation. So make sure to give them a call, 225-250-8808, or for more information, go to gotommies.com. That's GEAUX Tommies.com. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your college football Saturday. I'm going to definitely be enjoying my college football Saturday. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Once again, make sure to subscribe to our channels. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to our Facebook. Follow us on X. Whatever you're watching, do us a solid. Make sure to like us. Make sure to follow us, subscribe to us. It doesn't take too much of your time. We do really appreciate it. We don't ask for much, but if you can do that for us, we would really appreciate it. Thanks, guys, and we'll see y'all on Monday. There won't be a live show. It'll be taped and recorded, but we'll make an announcement when it is premiered so that y'all can watch it. It'll be premiered as live. Thank y'all so much. Have yourself a good night. And this has been our Gridiron Football Balling in the Boot Show, Week 10 edition. Have yourself a good night, everybody.